Hello everyone, welcome to our audiobook channel. If you enjoy this story or want to hear more exciting content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Your feedback helps us improve and bring even more captivating stories. Yes, we invite you to listen to part 1 of the series. Enjoy listening. Chapter 1, A Torch Awakening. Chenshin Principality, Golden Shark Starfield, White Tower Floating Land. Jeongyuan City, outskirts, ultra-long-distance Starry Sea deployment platform. Accompanied by a kilometer-high pillar of light shooting into the sky, the 100 torch warships that were neatly packed on the platform a moment ago vanished entirely, being deployed to an unknown and distant starry sky. At the same time, 1,000 miles away, in Jeongyuan City, which is one of the 5 major cities belonging to the White Tower Floating Land just like Jeongyuan City. First Torch Academy of Jeongyuan City, Men's Dormitory Building Number 3, Song-chi took off his virtual helmet and logged out of the White Tower network. A tense emotion emerged on his face, as he had just watched the live broadcast of the current year graduates of the First Torch Academy of Jeongyuan City being deployed into the Starry Sea. Following Jeongyuan City, the next in line was his own Jeongyuan City, and as a graduating student of the First Torch Academy in Jeongyuan, it meant that the scene just broadcast would soon be his turn. The ultra-long-distance deployment into the Starry Sea, the exploration of unknown starry skies, how could his heart not be tense at the thought that he would soon personally experience this? Amid the tension, a hint of expectant anticipation crept into the depths of his eyes, for this was also a rare opportunity. As long as he could seize it, soaring to the heavens was not an impossibility. This was an era of the Starry Sea. Millions of years ago, the multiverse shattered and the fragments left from the countless broken universes scattered across the void of the Starry Sea. Since then, the era of the multiverse came to an end, and a new era was born, which the various remnant civilizations referred to as the Shattered Starry Sea Era. These remnants of cosmic fragments, over the course of a long period of time, acquired a new name, Starry Sea Floating Lands. Soon after, the various civilizations discovered that as the ultimate essence remaining from the shattered universes of the multiverse era, the vast majority of Starry Sea floating lands contained countless rare resources. To contest these resources, the various remnant civilizations refused to give way to each other, turning the entire shattered Starry Sea into a battlefield ablaze with war. See the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. For millions of years, in every corner of the boundless shattered Starry Sea, countless civilizations perished every moment, buried in the long river of time. But similarly, various new civilizations sprouted like bamboo shoots after a spring rain, continuously emerging. Torch human civilization was one of them. In the domain of Torch civilization, all citizens at the age of 30 could embark on a journey of exploring the Starry Seas through ultra-long-distance interstellar deployment with Torch warships. Of course, due to the optimization and progression of genetic technology, the average lifespan of Torch citizens had already reached 140 years, and today's 30-year-olds were actually equivalent to just having come of age. Ever since the source seed of Torch was ignited over 300,000 years ago, this has become a rule shared by all members of Torchlight humanity. A lawful citizen over the age of 30 can attempt to awaken the seed of Torch, bind a Torch warship, and begin exploring the star domains. Gleaning resources from alien star domains, enhancing Torch warships, elevating the level of life. The purpose was to withstand the increasingly powerful alien races civilizations adjacent to the domain of Torch human civilization and to defend the territory of Torch human civilization. It can be said that awakening the seed of Torch and controlling a Torch warship is the most important opportunity in the life of all citizens of Torch civilization. Once the awakening is successful and one obtains their own Torch warship, they will immediately become a cut above the rest. Even if one can enhance their Torch warship to a higher rank, it's not difficult in the future to claim a wide expanse of territory and become the lord of a vast star domain, to have a long life and eventually join the nobility of Torch human civilization. Suppressing the strange emotions in his heart, Song-chi stood up, assumed a horse stance with his legs apart, and gradually raised his hands with palms facing upward and slowly spread them apart. This was the standard posture for cultivating the guidance technique. According to the authoritative data from the Torch Bureau, this set of guidance techniques developed by Torch human civilization over tens of thousands of years not only strengthens the body and promotes the elevation of life levels but also effectively increases the success rate of awakening the seed of Torch. Before the age of 30, the higher the cultivation level of the guidance technique, the greater the probability of successfully awakening the seed of Torch. As for why the age to awaken the seed of Torch was set at 30. Quite simply, based on an average lifespan of 140 years, awakening the seed of Torch at 30 allows for enough time to cultivate the guidance technique, significantly increasing the odds of awakening the seed of Torch while also not falling behind on the study of essential Starry-Sea knowledge, effectively lowering the mortality rate in subsequent explorations of alien territories following a successful awakening. And the 100 years left are more than enough to subsequently enhance the Torch worship and further elevate one's level of life, which is threefold beneficial. 3 hours later, Song Chi ended his cultivation practice. After more than 20 years of uninterrupted cultivation, his guidance technique level had already reached LV4. To advance further was not a matter of a short time. Now that the outside was already pitch black, he had no intention of continuing to cultivate. After washing up, he went straight to bed. Tomorrow was the day of the Torch awakening, and staying well rested was more important than anything. The next day, at the first Torch Academy sports field in Jongwon City. The awakening ceremony had already started early. Zhonglili, the Torch awakening is successful, quality colorless. Next, Zhou Pengfei. As the voice of an official from the Torch Bureau rang out loudly, the hundreds of students under the awakening platform reacted differently. Some whispered in lamentation, but the look of envy was more prevalent in the eyes of most. Although all lawful citizens of Torch civilization can attempt to awaken the seed of Torch at the age of 30, the actual success rate is not high. Based on the average success rate of past years at the first Torch Academy in Jongwon City, it's quite good if 4 out of 10 students can awaken. This was the elite gathering at the first Torch Academy of Jongwon City. Other academies within the city had even lower success rates. Amidst the crowd, Song Chi clenched his fists tight with nervous anticipation, just like most others. 30 years, everything comes down to today. With this thought, the announcement continued to resound. Zhou Pengfei, Torch awakening failed. Next. Xiao Yunfeng, Torch awakening successful, quality colorless. As one after another, the students either succeeded or failed. It was soon the turn of class 5 of the 10th year, where Song Chi was. Next up was Sun Hao. At that call, the man standing next to Song Chi, nearly 2 meters tall and resembling a black bear, trembled. Seeing this, Song Chi gently patted the other's shoulder, signaling him to relax. Haozi, do your best. The burly man named Sun Hao was one of the few close friends of Song Chi at the academy. Sun Hao nodded slightly and strode toward the awakening platform. Before long. Sun Hao, Torch awakening successful, quality colorless. Immediately, gasps of surprise rippled through the crowd of students. It was well known that although all were awakening the seed of Torch, the quality of the seeds came in different categories, with colorless at the bottom, followed by white, and then blue, purple, and so on. While white might be second to last in talent, one might find only one amongst dozens of awakeners, and the probability of awakening a blue or purple quality was exceedingly low. A smile appeared on Song Chi's face as he sincerely felt happy for his close friend. As expected, as soon as Sun Hao came down from the platform, he was quickly approached by numerous classmates seeking to strike up a friendly conversation. Even those who had rarely spoken to him over the past 10 years now crowded around him, hoping to forge a stronger connection. No one could blame them for being mercenary. At that moment, Sun Hao was indeed a sought-after commodity. A white quality seed of Torch would be enthusiastically invested in by outside small consortia, chambers of commerce, families, and other powers. As soon as Sun Hao agreed and signed a legal investment agreement, he would quickly receive a substantial investment in resources for enhancing his Torch worship, which would ensure that its upgrade pace would far exceed that of other awakeners. After all, everyone starts with a Torch worship of level 0, and subsequent component upgrades required significant resource consumption. Without strong financial backing, the upgrade speed would be excruciatingly slow. Next up was Song Chi. After 4 consecutive failures of others, it was finally Song-chi's turn. At his side the Sun Hao also passed over a look of encouragement. Song-chi took a deep breath, suppressed the nervousness within, and stepped up to the awakening platform. On the raised platform, and under the guidance of a torch bureau officer, Song-chi extended his right hand towards the dark flame in front of him. The dark flame, known as the source seed of torch, wasn't the original fire seed from the core star domain of the torch human civilization, but it was a derivative of it, capable of assisting the human body in awakening the seed of torch and increasing the success rate of awakenings. Song-chi felt only warmth encircling his palm, as if it was a fleeting moment, and yet it seemed like an eternity. When a prickling pain transmitted from the center of his hand, he finally reopened his eyes. Before he could react, the announcement had already reached his ears. Song-chi, torch awakening successful, quality colorless. Descending from the awakening platform, Song-chi experienced a flurry of mixed feelings, bittersweet in nature. He was pleased that he had successfully awakened his seed of torch, paving the way for a smoother journey into the extraordinary, and his 30 years of effort had not been in vain. His concern, however, lay with the quality of the torch. A colorless seed of torch, being the lowest quality of fire seed, had a very low ceiling. It wasn't too much of a problem early on, but if he couldn't enhance its quality, the strengthening of his torch worship would eventually come to a standstill, blocking his path to transcendence. While lost in thought, an intense burning sensation suddenly emanated from his chest. Thinking of something, Song-chi's gaze sharpened, and he silently muttered to himself. The Star C Ruin market rank is heating up. What's going on? It's been 30 years, and this is the first time this has happened. Returning to his class team with a puzzled look, this expression, to the outsiders, seemed like total dejection. Chick, don't overthink it. The quality of a seed of torch can be improved. Colorless isn't bad. Sun Hao thought Song-chi was feeling down and quickly started to console him. Song-chi shook his head lightly, indicating he was fine. It wasn't just a forced smile, he truly wasn't too concerned. The moment the result of his colorless seed of torch came out, he was indeed a bit disappointed, but he quickly bounced back. As Sun Hao said, the grade of a seed of torch can be enhanced, although it's incredibly hard and requires the consumption of rare special resources. Yet as a transmigrator, he was confident he could slowly improve the quality of his own seed of torch. Yes, he was a transmigrator, and moreover, he had been born into this world through transmigration. At that moment, what piqued his curiosity was the Star C Ruin market rank hanging around his neck. As the instigator of his transmigration, which brought him from Blue Star of his previous life to this one as a fetus, he had become certain over these 30 years that this rank was his golden finger. The thought that his golden finger was undergoing unknown changes made it impossible for him not to be concerned. Curiosity aside, in such a public setting, Song-chi couldn't simply take it out to check on it. Fortunately, the burning sensation gradually subsided after a while. About half an hour later, the entire awakening ceremony for the graduates of First Academy in Jongwon City was completed. Out of the more than 600 students, fewer than 200 had successfully awakened their seeds of torch. Cries, laughter, exclamations, and wails, the entire plaza erupted into a cacophony, with joy for some and sorrow for others. After all, from then on, the trajectories of these two groups of people would diverge dramatically. Chapter 2, Torch Worship. Attention, all successful awakeners, please follow your homeroom teachers to the torch building. Those who have not awakened, please leave the school within 1 hour. A deep voice emanated from the side of the teacher's office building, prompting the students to turn their heads. They saw a figure leap from the top of the office building, with clearly visible dark spectral energy erupting around it. The next second, a circle of black flames popped beneath their feet, and the figure vanished directly above the office building. When they reappeared, they were standing in midair above all the students. Zhu Yaokue, the principal of the First Torch Academy in Jongwon City, was said to have a high-level torch worship under his command and had already advanced to a third-tier life form. He had served as the principal of the First Academy for 150 years, commanding immense respect. Feeling the almost imperceptible pressure from above, Song-chi felt as if he were carrying a heavy burden. Although his mastery of the guidance technique had reached level 4 and didn't pose much of a difficulty, he was very aware that this was the result of Principal Zhu deliberately restraining his aura. If he were to fully release the aura of his third-tier life form, all the students present would likely collapse to the ground, and it could even cause their bones to burst. Song Chi's breathing was a bit heavy, yet there was no discomfort on his face. Instead, his eyes betrayed a burning eagerness. Standing on air as if riding the wind, the extraordinary beings that all the people of Blue Star had fantasized about were appearing before him. Even though he had seen it many times before, he still couldn't calm the excitement in his heart. With the principal overseeing personally, both students and teachers acted with remarkable efficiency, and a group of nearly 200 people quickly made their way toward the torch building. Catching a glimpse with the corner of his eye, Song Chi noticed that there were only 16 students in his class who had successfully awakened the seed of torch, among whom only 2 possessed the white seed of torch. Aside from Sun Hao, the other was Wang Yuan. The rest of the 14 had the colorless seed of torch. On the second floor of the torch building, in spectral cultivation room number 5, under the direction of their homeroom teacher Yang Minghui, the 16 students of class 5 lay down in separate spectral transformation pods one after another. Once everyone was ready, homeroom teacher Yang Minghui pressed the start button, and the pods slowly closed until they were completely sealed. While a ripple of dark spectral energy quickly filled the pod's interior space. Seeing this, Song Chi was not nervous. He had already learned all these steps before. This was the necessary spectral transformation required after awakening the seed of torch. After awakening the seed of torch, it would allow the awakener learn the torch worship they were bound to, the ability to control spectral energy. As one of the many energies in the shattered starry sea, the special property of spectral energy lies in its inclusivity, being able to convert the vast majority of known energies into homogeneous spectral energy. By doing so, Torchlight humanity can essentially convert all sorts of resources from the starry sea for their own use, thereby quickly enhancing themselves. This has been the underlying reason for the rapid expansion of the Torch human civilization and the continuous growth of its territory. However, when initially awakened, although awakeners have successfully controlled spectral energy, their bodies can't adapt to this new energy in a short period, causing various rejection reactions. Only after the body is built in spectral energy for an extended period, transforming the body into a spectral energy body, can this issue be perfectly resolved. And the spectral transformation pods are products designed to accelerate this process. With his eyes tightly closed and palms spread open, Song Chi cycled the guidance technique he knew by heart within his body. He didn't know how much time had passed, but a swelling sensation began in his brow. Song Chi was delighted by this. It signified that the spectral transformation was nearly complete. For it was only when the body wholly became a spectral energy body that the ancestral torch could be nurtured in the brow, the dwelling place of the internal seed of torch and the future storage location for the torch worship. Minutes later, all 16 students from class 5 had completed their spectral transformations and successfully established their ancestral torches. Alright, follow me. There's one last step, merging with the worship. Only once the seed of torch successfully merges with an ordinary worship, transforming it into a torch worship, can you be considered a truly qualified heir of the torch legacy. Behind the torch building was a huge base for conventional worships, and all the students from Jongwon City who had successfully awakened the seed of torch in the advanced torch academies needed to merge with their initial torch worships here. Scout class Starry Sea Shuttle hangar, nearly 200 people gathered here, orderly engaging in the torch fusion. There wasn't much choice in the matter. All bearers of the seed of torch could only fuse with one model of the worship, the Scout class Starry Sea Shuttle. The Torch Spectral Shuttle is also the standard model for all initial torch worships. Song Chi. At the call, Song Chi immediately stepped forward. In front of a standard Scout class shuttle, Song Chi awkwardly directed the flow of spectral energy within his body, concentrating it at the center of his forehead. Soon, a beam of ghost light emanated from his brow and entered directly into the shuttle's body in front of him. The next second, a strong pulling force transmitted from the ancestral torch within his forehead, and under this force, the shuttle in front of him began to shrink slowly, eventually becoming the size of a fingernail and drilling into Song Chi's ancestral torch. Meanwhile, Song Chi rapidly closed his eyes, starting to sense the situation within the ancestral torch. In the exact center of chaos space, a strand of black flame hovered, while above it, the Scout-class shuttle was undergoing continuous scorching from the black flame. After a few minutes, a flash of brilliance sped by Song-Chi's eyes, and an attributes panel appeared beside the small shuttle. Model Torch Spectral Shuttle. Level LV0. Basic components: colorless torch warship body LV0, spectral main cannon LV0, spectral secondary cannon LV0, warship armor LV0, spectral engine LV0, spectral shield LV0, void radar LV0, spectral cultivation room LV0, 8/8. Additional components: none, 0/2. Spectral energy pool 100/1000. Supplies: none. His gaze scanning over this attributes panel, Song-Chi directly skipped the first 3 lines, focusing on the basic components section. As the name suggests, basic components are structures all newly fused spectral shuttles have, akin to standard equipment. Firstly, the colorless torch warship body doesn't need much explanation. It links to the seed of torch within the ancestral aperture, and as long as the seed of torch advances, it will upgrade accordingly. For the seed of torch to advance from level 0 to level 1, 5 strands of floating land origin and 200 spectral energy points are needed. Just as Song-Chi was preparing to continue looking further down, the urging voice of the old teacher, Young Ming-hui, timely sounded, and Song-Chi could only reluctantly withdraw his spiritual awareness from the ancestral aperture and give up his spot for the next student to fuse. Soon, all the Awakener students had completed the fusion without any incidents of potential fusion failure, which relieved all the academy teachers. Though the possibility of failing the torch fusion is very slim, almost negligible. Once a fusion failure occurs, the bearer of the seed of torch must wait for a 1-month buffer period before attempting to fuse again. But the issue lies precisely in this aspect because after the awakening of the seed of torch, only the initial 3 days are a special protection period. Any explorations conducted in the alien star domain during this period are significantly less dangerous. It is like a special benefit given to newcomers. As long as one does not deliberately seek death, there's basically no risk to life. In addition to gaining experience in exploring the alien star domain at no cost, one could also harvest additional resources. For the newly awakened rookie captains, this is an opportunity not to be missed. But if one fails to fuse with the warship, that entire 1-month buffer period is immutable, and they could only watch helplessly as this one-time benefit slips away, lamenting what could have been. Chapter 3 Star C Ruin Market Rank. Chapter 3 Star C Ruin Market Rank. After the fusion segment was over, the classes began to disperse and regroup. At the gathering point of Class 5, Young Ming-hui's eyes shimmered as he looked at the 16 familiar faces he had been with for years. His throat filled with a myriad of words that he wanted to say, but in the end, it all condensed into 2 stern admonishments. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, everyone gather at the Academy Square. Go home today and make sure you're well prepared, he said. Even if it's a welfare exploration, there are casualties every year, so don't take it lightly. Understood? After parting with Sun Hao, Song-Chi hailed an energy vehicle by the roadside. His home was in the city center, not far from the academy. It took less than 20 minutes for the energy vehicle to stop at the entrance of Dongjong community, where he lived. Universal credit points deducted at 10 points. Account balance, 2,413,543 points. Having just got off the vehicle, his smart wristband sent him a payment notification. As he looked at the balance on his account, Song-Chi's expression was calm, but if an outsider were to see it, they certainly would not remain as composed. As the universal currency of the Chengxing Principality, credit points had a very solid purchasing power. The average salary of a common person was around 3,000 credit points a month. Deducting daily expenses, one could save at most 2,000 points a month. By that calculation, it would take an ordinary person at least 100 years to accumulate 2.4 million credit points. Being a student who hadn't graduated yet, one can only imagine how astonishing the amount of savings Song-Chi had in his hands was. It certainly wasn't given by his parents but was earned by him over the past 30 years. As for the source, in his previous life, being a seasoned web novel writer, he did have a certain amount of innate talent in creative writing. Over the past 2 decades, he had produced quite a few works. The most famous of his works were Torch Breaks Through the Skies and Fighting Spirits of the Floating Land. It's a pity that after tens of thousands of years of Torch human civilization's development, the field of online literature wasn't blank, then his two works only managed to gain a moderate amount of popularity. The royalties he had accumulated up until now amounted to just over 2 million. Which he preferred not to mention. Dongjong Community, Building 5, Apartment 403. No sooner had he entered the door than the gazes of his father, Song Chao, and his mother, Chen Lixia, converged on him almost at the same time. "My boy's back. Come here quick, oh mom made your favorite braised deep sea turbot," Chen Lixia called out. Song Chi's eyes brightened, and he hastily put down his backpack and hurried to the dining table. After consuming a full bowl of fish soup, he felt a warm current spreading from his stomach to the rest of his body, and his face showed a genuine sense of satisfaction. Actually, deep sea turbot didn't taste that good. In fact, one could say it was unpleasant. Placed in the eyes of other children, it would be at the top of the picky eater's menu. However, Song Chi had been consistent for over 20 years. What attracted him was the rich blood chi energy contained in the fish meat, which could greatly promote the practice of the guidance technique. It was one of the reasons why he had managed to cultivate his guidance technique to level 4 in just over 20 years. Classmates of his age were mostly stuck at level 2 with their guidance technique, and only those with decent talent could reach level 3. The higher the level of the guidance technique, the harder it is to practice, the slower the progress. It's common knowledge across the domains of Torch human civilization. Spreading his hands, the guidance technique within his body slowly activated, starting to rapidly absorb the blood chi energy from the fish soup to accelerate his cultivation. Of course, now it should be called the spectral energy guidance technique. After completing the spectral energy transformation and his body becoming a spectral energy body, his guidance technique automatically advanced to the spectral energy guidance technique, which cultivated at a faster rate compared to the regular guidance technique. Seeing the threads of black spectral energy emerging around Song Chi, the anxious looks on the faces of Song Chao and Chen Lixia quickly faded. Both had also awakened the seed of Torch and were more than familiar with spectral energy. Seeing their son already able to wield spectral energy, they instantly understood that Song Chi had successfully awakened. Having awakened the colorless seed of Torch, the spectral shuttle has already merged. Tomorrow at 8 in the morning, the first exploration of a foreign river domain will take place, he reported while continuing to absorb and convert the blood chi energy within his body. Hearing this, his parents, Song Chao and Chen Lixia, nodded slightly, showing no sign of disappointment in their eyes. When Song Chi was born, both of them possessed colorless seeds of Torch. Given the limitations of their bloodline, they were more than satisfied as long as their son could successfully awaken the seed of Torch. They had never really hoped for the awakening of a seed of Torch with white quality or higher. The chances were simply too low. "Little Chief, come here." After lunch, Song Dad called Song Chi into the study immediately. In the study, Song Chao had an earnest expression. After giving some instructions for a good while, a ghostly light flashed between his eyebrows, and 2 balls of light flew out from his ancestral torch, hovering in front of Song Chi. "These are the starter resources your mother and I are giving you: 1000 strands of 0-rank floating land origin and a white quality special component, Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree, for your torch worship." Song Chi was overjoyed. The resources weren't much, but for someone just starting out like him, they were more than enough to carry out an initial enhancement and upgrade of his Torch Spectral Shuttle, improving the shuttle's various performances and strengthening its combat and survival capabilities. With this, his starting point was fundamentally ahead of most of his peers. Never underestimate this small step, as the saying goes, one step ahead means a lead in every step. This slight lead could very well be the key to soaring to great heights in the future. Compared to the 1000 strands of 0-rank floating land origin, Song Chi was even more covetous of the white quality, Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree special component. Search *the Nifire.8 website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. As everyone knows, any colored component of a torch worship must be derived from a starry sea oddity. Once connected with the 4 words starry sea oddity, the value of the item is bound to skyrocket, even if it's just the lowest white-colored oddity. Not to mention components as popular as the soldier figurine components for warships. After all, the readily available soldier figurine automatons, whether used as guards, for combat assistance, or even cannon fodder, can significantly increase a captain's chance of survival, and they are often fiercely competed over as soon as they appear. Therefore, one can see the value of the fire peony soldier effigy tree component before him. Thank you, Dad and Mom. Song-Chi activated the spectral energy within him, absorbing the 2 balls of light into his own ancestral torch. After receiving another round of admonitions from his parents, he finally got permission to go upstairs. Back in his bedroom, instead of immediately blending his spiritual consciousness into the ancestral torch to check the details of the spectral shuttle he hadn't finished reviewing before, he took out the copper badge hanging in front of his chest right away. He had always carried the item that had caused his transmigration with him. The badge wasn't big, only about half the size of a lighter, with Starry Sea Ruins Market engraved on its front, which was why he had always referred to it as the Star Sea Ruin Market rank. Examining the Star Sea Ruin Market rank intently, it didn't take long for him to notice a change in it. For the past 30 years, it had been like an ordinary copper badge. No matter how he fiddled with it, there was never a response, but now a faint ghostly black luster appeared on the badge. This luster was extremely faint. If he hadn't examined it closely, he might not have noticed it at all. Is this spectral energy? Song-Chi's eyes suddenly brightened just as the badge underwent another transformation. Perhaps due to his prolonged gaze, an attribute panel automatically popped out beside the badge. Name: a spectral energy, Starry Sea Ruin Market rank. Category: growth type strange object. Quality: level LV0. Feature: control and connect to a specific Starry Sea Ruins market. Feature 2, the Star Sea Ruin Market rank can autonomously advance once specific conditions are met. Remark: the rare gem among strange objects possessing infinite growth potential. Chapter 4, for Ancient Immortal Domain Civilization, please recommend and follow. Chapter 4, Ancient Immortal Domain Civilization, please recommend and follow. Attribute Introduction. Spectral energy. Could it be the spectral energy that I controlled after awakening the seed of torch which then triggered this anomaly? Moreover, this Star Sea Ruin Market rank turns out to be a Starry Sea oddity, and what's more, it's a growing type of Starry Sea oddity that I've never heard of before, though the name does sound quite impressive. A myriad of thoughts surfaced in Song-Chi's mind, and at that moment another flash of insight streaked through his brain. He then focused his mind and began to mobilize the little spectral energy within his body, gathering it toward the palm of his right hand before slowly infusing it into the token he was holding. The next moment, an anomaly occurred. A strong suction force enveloped his entire body. Song-Chi immediately sensed something was wrong, but it was too late to stop the flow of spectral energy into the token. In the next second, a strong wave of dizziness overwhelmed him. Fighting back the urge to vomit that rose from the depths of his heart, he opened his eyes at the first opportunity, his gaze swiftly scanning the surroundings several times. Once he was certain there was no danger around him, he relaxed slightly but did not dare to let down his guard completely. After all, he was now certain of one thing: his current location was not his bedroom but an entirely unfamiliar place. Only after the intense feeling of nausea in his heart had completely subsided did Song-Chi begin to closely observe his surroundings. At that time, the Star Sea Ruin Market rank still tightly clutched in his hand emitted waves of warmth. Just as he was preparing to lower his head to check the rank, a stream of inexplicable information emerged out of nowhere in his mind. Name: Inan. Ruins Market Master at Song-Chi. Rank: LV0. Specifications: 100 mx 100 m. Basic configuration: 10 vacant shops, 1 stall area of 10 mx 10 m, 1 in on the first floor, accommodates 10 people, 1 LV0 all attributes cultivation room, spectral energy cultivation efficiency doubled, 1 LV0 spectral energy protection formation, 1 LV0 ultra long distance space gate random deployment platform. Additional configuration: Enan 0/2. Feature: averting misfortune, ability to move freely within the void, instinctively avoiding natural disasters. Up rank requirement: 10 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, Ruins Market trade volume of 100 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank. Notes: an inconspicuous little ruins market located on the dark side of the shattered starry sea, seemingly only allowing life entities of first rank and below to enter. Fortunately, it has decent potential. Several minutes later, when Song-chi had somewhat digested the information that had appeared in his mind, his eyes gradually brightened, and the excitement in his heart was indescribable for a moment. He turned around, his gaze passing through the semicircular spectral energy protection array behind him to look outside. The external environment was shockingly a pitch-black void. In the far distance, terrifying void storms howled past, and wherever the storms traveled, dense space cracks followed in their wake, tearing the space apart. At that moment, Song-chi's scalp tingled. From what he knew, ripping apart space was a feat that only highly enhanced torch warships could accomplish, yet in this pitch-black void space, such violent void storms were a common sight. But soon he remembered something, and the fear in his eyes slowly dissipated. According to the information he dissected, the place where he was located was a special secret realm space that floated within the void cracks on the dark side of the shattered starry sea, said to be a product of an ancient civilization that called itself the Immortal Domain. Because this space had been fitted with a rare ultra-long-distance space gate random deployment platform by a powerful figure from the ancient Immortal Domain civilization, it had always been used as a trading ruins market connected to all corners of the world. Besides, it possessed a precious averting misfortune feature, allowing it to autonomously steer clear of the void storms within the space cracks, which was the fundamental reason why it had been able to wander the void space for countless millennia. Thinking of this feature, Song-chi was finally able to put his mind completely at ease. From what he understood, this ruins market had not been under anyone's control for tens of thousands of years before him. Such a lengthy period had passed, and it had not been destroyed by the void storms. This attested to the strength of the averting misfortune feature. Once he completely let go of his concerns, he began to survey the entire ruins market. Perhaps because it had depleted a great deal of energy in the void space and had not received any new energy supplements, the space of the once bustling ruins market secret realm had been reduced to its limits over the tens of thousands of years. It was so small it was pitiable, with a length, width, and height of merely 100 meters each. There was only one street lined with 10 shops, an inn, and evenly distributed stores. At the farthest end of the street, on the left, was the only all attributes cultivation room in the ruins market. Opposite the cultivation room was the most central structure in the ruins market. An ultra-long-distance space gate random deployment platform. Search * the novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Upon setting his gaze on these two special buildings, Song-chi quickly received details about their attributes. Name: All Attributes Cultivation Room. Level: LV0. Effect: A while. Cultivating inside the cultivation room, cultivation speed is increased by 200% when cultivating spectral energy. The increase is 400%. Specification: a single-user cultivation room. Note: originating from the hands of a powerful being from the Immortal Domain civilization of the Starry Sea, this high-specification cultivation room has been transformed by the spectral energy, which provides an additional boost when cultivating spectral energy within. Up-rank requirement: ruins market level LV1, 10 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank. Name: Ultra-Long Distance Space Gate Random Deployment Platform. Level: LV0. Effect: once activated, 10 special gates that provide access to and from the ruins market will be randomly deployed within the shattered starry sea. Each special gate has a duration of 24 hours, with a buffer period of 720 hours. Special gate restrictions: due to the ruins market's own rank, life entities of Starry Sea first rank and above are currently unable to pass through the special gate. Note: the miraculous construction from the hands of a mighty being belonging to the Immortal Domain civilization of the Starry Sea, its function is extraordinary. Up-rank requirement: ruins market level LV1, 10 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank. After looking through the attributes of both, Song-chi was somewhat eager to try out the effect of the ultra-long-distance space gate random deployment platform. Because of the Star Sea ruin market rank, he was now the new master of this ruins market. It could be said that within this ruins market, he was the ruler of all rules, as long as no beings exceeding the rank of the ruins market itself entered. In this ruins market, he was essentially invincible. Knowing that there would be no form of danger, he naturally wanted to try the core functionality of the ruins market, connecting different star domains within the shattered starry sea and engaging in exchanges and trade with a variety of starry sea alien race civilizations. And let's not forget that further upgrades of the ruins market still require a specific condition of trade volume. Unless he was content with the current small scale of 100M by 100M and only conducted trade with zero-rank starry sea alien races in the future, this space gate deployment platform would be essential for regular use. After some deliberation, he finally suppressed the impulse in his heart. Chapter 5, Jution Ruins Market, Song Cheong, please follow. Chapter 5, Jution Ruins Market, Song Cheong, please follow. The reason is simple, it is now afternoon, and there are less than 20 hours until the assembly time tomorrow morning. Once the special gate launcher is activated, the special gate deployed will last for 24 hours. In other words, if he opens the ruins market now, there will be a conflict with the exploration of the alien star domain scheduled for tomorrow morning. As the ruins market lord, he could absolutely control the ruins market, and as long as no first rank or higher beings appear, he can completely maintain order. But all of this is predicated on his presence within the ruins market. If he were to leave halfway through, there's no telling how chaotic the entire ruins market space would become. Besides, he still has many things to prepare for now. Tomorrow marks the first exploration of the shattered starry sea, so he must be fully prepared. Moreover, he still has quite a few ideas about the ruins market beneath his feet that he needs to verify one by one. No sooner said than done, Song Chi used the ruins market token to enter and exit several times, each time carrying different items with him. Water bottles, backpacks, chairs. After 10 minutes, he had his first answer. Anything he could lift and hold in his hands could be brought into this ruins market space. Conversely, items that exceeded his ability to carry could not be brought in. Having reached this conclusion, he quickly walked to a previously visited stall area, one of the few vacant areas in the ruins market. Even though a 10 by 10 space was not that large, it was more than sufficient for a spectral shuttle, which did not exceed 7 meters in length. That's right, this time Song Chi was attempting to see if he could summon a spectral shuttle within the ruins market. Under his full control, spectral energy rapidly converged towards the space between his eyebrows. Feeling the movement at his brow, Song Chi's heart filled with joy. He had successfully opened the ancestral torch. Soon, a ray of light shot out from between his eyebrows, and then the compact spectral shuttle appeared out of thin air in the vacant area before him. You can summon the spectral shuttle within the ruins market. With this result, Song Chi's excitement was uncontrollable. Thus, not only could he enter the ruins market in the event of danger, using it as a lifeline, but the many ideas he had also seemed to have quite a bit of room for maneuver. What is the most troublesome issue for a torch warship when exploring the alien star domain? Many people would probably say alien civilization, because a strong encounter with an alien species almost always results in the destruction of the warship and loss of life. But in reality, that's not the case. The actual problem that every torch warship captain agonizes over is the warship storage space. The physical size of the warship is fixed, and naturally, there's a limit to what it can carry. Because of this limitation, every captain has to meticulously calculate before they begin exploring the alien star domain and again when they are about to return from their exploration in order to utilize every inch of space in the cargo hold to its maximum. As a result, a large mechanical equipment like the Tiger-type floating land mining cart, Hornet-class combat drones, and the land warfare-type exploration robot are generally difficult to bring along. After all, even if they are taken to the alien star domain and there is a significant harvest, the return journey becomes a problem. Should those bulky items be brought back, or should they be discarded in order to make room for the harvested resources? Here the novelier.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. These pieces of equipment aren't cheap, and if they are simply abandoned, it would be fine if the resources brought back are of high value, earning perhaps only half the profit. But it would be regrettable if the value of the harvested resources ends up being less than the value of the abandoned equipment. Yet if they are not discarded, the torch worship only has so much space, so how many resources can it really bring back? Therefore, this has always been an unsolvable conflict, and all torch worship captains suffer headaches over this issue. Because of this, the prices for special folding/expansion components for warships have been driven up to astronomical levels. Even white-quality special components for warships often sell for the price of blue or even purple components, and they're still priceless in the market. Just before this, on his way home, Song-Chi was going over the small space of the spectral shuttle over and over again, hoping to make the perfect plan before deploying to the alien star domain tomorrow. But now it seems there's no need to fret over these matters anymore. The ruins market space, where a torch warship can be freely summoned, is practically a perfect backup storage space, then a very large one at that. Although there are restrictions on carrying items, large objects cannot be brought in by an individual. But the torch warship is different, it can be stored in the ancestral torch. With that, there's a lot of room for maneuver. It's entirely possible to store the necessary large machinery in a torch warship, then store the warship in the ancestral torch, then once inside the ruins market, summon the torch warship. This way, the limit on individual item carrying can be perfectly bypassed. Plus, during future explorations of the alien star domain, the same strategy can be applied. Using the torch warship as a vessel, resources that normally couldn't be taken can be stored in the ruins market, significantly enhancing the harvest from each exploration. Of course, all this idea still hinged on one assumption, that after he was dispatched to the alien star domain, he would still be able to freely open and enter the ruins market, otherwise, everything would be off the table. In the midst of rapidly swirling thoughts, a sudden alert sound brought Song-Chi back to reality. Please name the ruins market as soon as possible. Hearing this, he remembered that there was indeed such a matter, and it was not just the ruins market beneath his feet that needed a name, but also the spectral shuttle before him. Shaking his head to suppress the multitude of thoughts in his mind, Song-Chi shifted his attention to the ruins market and the spectral shuttle in front of him. After pondering for about 10 seconds, 2 words suddenly popped into his mind. Jution. In his past life, he had read not a small number of Shenshu novels, and since the ruins market beneath his feet could connect to various star domains in the shattered starry sea at random, the name Jution Ruins Market couldn't be more suitable. Jution Ruins Market, naming successful. After the Jution Ruins Market, it was the turn of the spectral shuttle, but this time it tormented Song-Chi for quite a while. Starry Sea. Sorry, that name already exists, please choose another. Crossing. Sorry, that name. Galaxy. Sorry. Due to the large base number of torch warships within torch human civilization, many names had already been registered. Shenzhou. Sorry. Songcheong. Songcheong is not yet in use. Are you sure you want to name it Songcheong? Kunlun. Oh. Is it available? His tone paused, and then Song-Chi immediately clicked confirm. Seeing the naming was successful, he shifted his gaze to start examining the specific attributes of his spectral shuttle. He hadn't been able to look at all the attributes of the spectral shuttle still because of the interruption by his old classmate, Yang Minhui. Name, Songcheong. Model, Torch Spectral Shuttle. Level, LV0. Basic components, colorless torch warship armor LV0, spectral main cannon LV0, spectral secondary cannon LV0, warship armor LV0, spectral engine LV0, spectral shield LV0, patrol radar LV0, spectral cultivation room LV0, 8/8. Special components, none, 0/2. Chapter 6, 6 detailed attributes of the shuttle, please follow. Chapter 6, detailed attributes of the shuttle, please follow. His gaze still lingered on the basic components section. The spectral shuttle was completely a blank slate at the moment, and there wasn't much to see in the other categories either. For instance, in the special components category, the recently integrated torch warship only had 2 initial special component slots, which would only increase as the spectral shuttle was upgraded. Of course, the number of slots that could be added later depended on the quality of the seed of torch. The higher the quality of the seed, the more slots that would be added naturally. This was yet another key reason why Torch human civilization placed so much importance on the quality of the seed of Torch. It not only determined the enhancement ceiling of the Torch warships but also the relative combat power among warships of the same level. Just imagine two Torch warships both at level LV10, the one with the white fire seed could potentially carry 10 kinds of special components, while the warship with a colorless fire seed might at most have only 6 special component slots, a difference of nearly double, making their combat power incomparable. His focus sharpened and soon the detailed attributes of these modules appeared one by one. Spectral Main Cannon LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 10 per shot, Spectral Energy Points. Might, 11. Charged 5s, Buffer, 10s. Up rank requirement, 1 strand of floating land origin, 0 rank, 100 Spectral Energy Points. Spectral Cannon LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 1 per shot, Spectral Energy Points. Might, 1.1. No need for buffer or charge. Up rank requirement, 100 Spectral Energy Points. Warship Armor LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 1/S Spectral Energy Points. Defense, 11. Up rank requirement, 1 strand of floating land origin, 0 rank, 100 Spectral Energy Points, 1 ton of fine iron. Spectral Engine LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 1/S. Spectral Energy Points. Energy Supply, 10/S Spectral Energy Points. Post-overload buffer, 30 minutes. Spectral Energy Pool, 1000 points, can store 1000 Spectral Energy Points. Up rank requirement, 1 strand of floating land origin, 0 rank, 100 Spectral Energy Points, 5 life course, 0 rank. Spectral Shield LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 3/S Spectral Energy Points. Defense, 11. Shield value, 110/110. Charge, 30s, post-overload buffer, 1 hour. Up rank requirement, 1 strand of floating land origin, 0 rank, 100 Spectral Energy Points, 5 life course, 0 rank. Search *thenovelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Patrol Radar LV0, Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 1/S Spectral Energy Points. Detection range, 1 light second. Precision, 10. Up rank requirement, 1 strand of floating land origin, 0 rank, 100 Spectral Energy Points. Spectral Energy Cultivation Platform LV0. Quality, Colorless. Consumption, 2/S Spectral Energy Points. Cultivation bonus, 2 times, 200%. Only effective for 0 rank life entities. Up rank requirement, 5 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 10 life course, 0 rank. After checking the data for each component, Song-Chi didn't linger, as these were only basic data, which were generally covered in past studies. The only thing that caught his attention was the Spectral Energy Cultivation Platform at the end. As one of the core components of a Torch warship, it's also the fundamental reason why everyone in the Torch human civilization is obsessed with owning a personal Torch warship. What is the ultimate purpose of risking their lives to explore the vast and boundless alien star domain? Is it merely for the pleasure of experiencing the exotic charms of alien territories? Of course not. The spirit of exploration that drives Torch citizens has always been about the rare and fascinating resources found within alien star domains. So, what is the ultimate purpose of plundering and collecting these resources? Is it just to enhance the Torch warship? Not exactly, or at least not entirely. Strengthening a Torch warship is inevitable, but that's just the surface. Fundamentally, what every Torch ship captain pursues is the sublimation of their own life level. To put it bluntly, it's immortality, to live longer. As is well known, practicing the guidance technique to high levels can induce a transformation in life levels, and each transformation extends the cultivator's lifespan to some degree. However, as the level of the guidance technique increases, the difficulty of cultivation becomes increasingly terrifying. Just triggering the first transformation of life levels is as hard as reaching the heavens, let alone subsequent life sublimations. But this problem can be perfectly solved by the Spectral Energy Cultivation Platform bound to each Torch warship. The spectral energy cultivation platform greatly accelerates the cultivation of the spectral energy guidance technique, allowing all torch ship captains to enhance their guidance technique levels at double, triple, or even higher speeds, thereby repeatedly inducing transformations in their own life levels. The higher the enhancement level of the torch warship, the better the effect of its bound spectral energy cultivation platform. Therefore, the thing that torch ship captains really care about is not the enhancement of the torch warship itself, but the spectral energy cultivation platform that comes with the warship. Looking at the spectral energy cultivation platform on the spectral shuttle, Song-Chi suddenly thought of the all attributes cultivation room in the ruins market, which seemed to have a 400% cultivation bonus for spectral energy, twice that of the current platform. Previously, he had been mostly preoccupied by the ultra-long-distance Space Gate random deployment platform and hadn't paid much attention. But now, thinking back, the excitement he had just managed to suppress surged up like a tide. Because he was very clear about what this meant. It meant that his future cultivation speed for the spectral energy guidance technique would far exceed that of other torch ship captains of his rank. It meant he would have a higher chance of improving his life level and gaining more lifespan. It also meant that even if he couldn't enhance the quality of the fire seed of his own torch worship, it wouldn't affect his personal cultivation in the slightest. Of course, having said that, Song-Chi wouldn't give up on his torch worship unless absolutely necessary. After all, future enhancements and introductions of new products in the ruins market would require substantial resources, and relying solely on the monthly ruins market trade was far from enough. Moreover, the ruins market itself didn't have strong fire support like the torch warship, which could suppress an entire Starry Sea floating land after reaching a certain level of strengthening. Thinking of this, Song-Chi quickly outlined his subsequent development plan. Using the ruins market as the base and the torch warship as an auxiliary, one to better and more quickly facilitate the sublimation of life levels, the other to provide future fire support. Both progressing side by side without interfering with each other. After clarifying this primary and secondary relationship, Song-Chi shifted his attention to strengthening the spectral shuttle. Tomorrow is the first exploration of alien star domains, and even though it's a welfare exploration, the necessary enhancements still have to be made. A stitch in time saves 9 is a principle that Song-Chi understood. With a flash of ghost light at his brow, a sphere of light belonging to the Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree special component was taken out from the ancestral torch. Song-Chi then installed it into one of the 2 special component slots available on the spectral shuttle, and quickly its properties emerged. Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree LV0. Quality white. Consumption 50 per figurine spectral energy points. Effect summons 10 LV0 Fire Peony Soldier figurines. The figurines are undying and can exist indefinitely. If they die, they can only be resummoned after 24 hours. Up rank requirement to 5 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 500 spectral energy points. Chapter 7 is Song-Chiong component enhancement, please follow. Chapter 7 the Song-Chiong component enhancement, please follow. Song-Chi shifted his gaze away from the attribute panel of the Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree component and began to tally his current financial resources. Apart from the 1,000 threads of 0-rank floating land origin provided by his parents, there were also 2.4 million credit points in his account. According to the Chengxing Principality's official conversion, 10,000 credit points could be exchanged for 1 thread of 0-rank floating land origin. That is to say, after doing the full calculation, he had about 1,240 threads of 0-rank floating land origin at his disposal. However, out of these 1,240 threads of 0-rank floating land origin, at least 500 threads had to be reserved for purchasing medical supplies, basic type nanorobot repair kits, Fury Tiger Eye floating land mining carts specialized prospecting instruments, etc., leaving him with only around 700 threads for enhancing the spectral shuttle. Without any hesitation, the first component to enhance was the spectral shield, which, once activated, could form an energy shield on the surface of the spectral shuttle and was a torch warship's primary means of defense. For Song-Chi, who had access to the Jution ruins market, as long as he practiced step by step, he could refine his life level all the way up, so naturally, staying alive was the most important aspect while exploring the alien star domain. However, enhancing this component required not only floating land origin and spectral energy points but also a life core. Song-Chi was no stranger to such an item. In the vast expanse of the shattered starry sea, most of the starry sea life forms, upon death, would leave behind a special crystal, which contained the majority of the energy essence absorbed throughout the life form's existence. This was the life core. In fact, the life core is also considered a universal special resource, as many starry sea civilizations include it in their general currency system. The Torch human civilization does the same. In slightly larger commerce hubs or family enterprises, it is possible to use and exchange them in not just the life core but also other common enhancement resources for torch warships like fine iron, floating land origin, all of which can be freely used and exchanged. After greeting his parents on the first floor, Song-Chi left the house again and made his way to the nearby Dongjeong Torch Shopping Center, not far from Dongjeong Community. It was just one of many torch shopping centers within Jeongwon City. There weren't many shops within the center, but it was sufficient for torch ship captains like Song-Chi, who were just beginning to awaken their powers. After spending about 15 minutes shopping around and comparing prices, he got his hands on the required life course. Song-Chi did not rush home but instead summoned the spectral shuttle right there in the designated torch worship enhancement area of the shopping center and began its first enhancement. Would you like to confirm the expenditure of 1 thread of 0 rank floating land origin plus 100 spectral energy points plus 5 life cores to upgrade the spectral shield component from LV0 to LV1? Confirm. Would you like to confirm the expenditure of 3 threads of 0 rank floating land origin plus 200 spectral energy points plus 6 life cores to upgrade the spectral shield component from LV1 to LV2? After 4 consecutive enhancements, Song-Chi brought the spectral shield component up to LV4. It wasn't that he was no longer planning to enhance it, but rather that the 1000 spectral energy points stored in the spectral engine had been completely depleted, and he needed to wait for it to be fully recharged. Fortunately, the recharge rate wasn't slow. With just the spectral engine component activated, it could store 9 points per second, and it wouldn't take more than 2 minutes to fully recharge. 2 minutes later, Song-Chi resumed enhancing. In the end, he brought the spectral shield up to LV7, spending a total of 59 threads of 0 rank floating land origin, 56 0 rank life cores, and 2800 spectral energy points in the process. Of the 59 threads of 0 rank floating land origin, 49 were used for the enhancements, and the remaining 10 were to purchase 100 0 rank life cores. The attributes of the spectral shield enhanced to LV7 were indeed significantly improved. Spectral shield LV7. Quality colorless. Consumption 10/S spectral energy points. Defense 18. Shield value 180/180. Charge 23. Post overload buffer 46 minutes. Up rank requirement 15 threads of floating land origin, 0 rank, 800 spectral energy points, 12 life cores, 0 rank. Having enhanced the spectral shield, Song-Chi still didn't feel completely assured. As a transmigrator who deeply understood that the greatest thing was to remain alive, he proceeded without delay to start enhancing the warship armor. Although this component's defense does not match that of the spectral shield, it is still one of the essential defenses for a torch warship, and he naturally would not neglect it. Several minutes later, he had enhanced the warship armor to LV7. However, each upgrade of this component required the consumption of fine iron, a special mineral resource. To reach LV7, a total of 28 tons of fine iron were used, and the price of each ton was 1 strand of 0 rank floating land origin. In total, strengthening this warship armor consumed 77 strands of floating land origin. Warship armor LV7. Quality colorless. Consumption 3/S spectral energy points. Defense 18. Up rank requirement 15 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 800 spectral energy points, 8 tons of fine iron. After enhancing both the spectral shield and warship armor to LV7, the energy consumption of both when activated also increased significantly, surpassing the normal energy supply of the spectral engine. Therefore, if he wanted to keep the spectral shield activated after deploying into an unknown star domain, strengthening the engine was also essential. Do you confirm the expenditure of 1 strand of 0-rank floating land origin plus 100 spectral energy points plus 5 life cores to upgrade the spectral engine component from LV0 to LV1? Confirmed. After 4 consecutive enhancements, he only had 9 0-rank life cores left, not enough for a 5th enhancement. Songqi had no choice but to spend another 20 strands of 0-rank floating land origin to purchase 200 life cores. In the end, he also enhanced the spectral engine to LV7, spending the same resources as enhancing the spectral shield. As for the leftover 188 0-rank life cores, he stored them in the spectral shuttle for later use. Upon checking the engine's attributes, they, too, had a significant improvement. Spectral engine LV7. Quality colorless. Consumption 4/S spectral energy points. Energy supplied 24/S spectral energy points. Post-overload buffer 23 minutes. Yunong pool 1700 points, can store 1700 Yunong points. Up-rank requirement 15 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 800 spectral energy points, 12 life cores, 0 rank. Following the spectral engine is the spectral main cannon. Although it's a welfare drop, the Starry Sea alien race is everywhere, and it's hard to say that a welfare drop will surely encounter no danger, so it's still necessary to slightly enhance the firepower of the spectral shuttle. The enhancement of the spectral main cannon did not require life cores. Songqi upgraded it to LV5, spending a total of 25 strands of 0-rank floating land origin and 1500 spectral energy points. The detailed attributes after the upgrade are as follows. Spectral main cannon LV5. Quality colorless. Search * the offfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Consumption 20 per shot spectral energy points. Might 16. Charge force buffer hits. Up-rank requirement 11 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 600 spectral energy points. It's clear to see that the enhanced spectral main cannon not only has a not insignificant increase in might but also reduced charging and buffering times, overall a rather satisfactory improvement. Chapter 8 The last preparations before exploring the Starry Sea. Chapter 8 The last preparations before exploring the Starry Sea. The last enhancement was of the space patrolling radar. In the Starry Sea, the distance between one floating land and another often starts at light years apart. A powerful radar, then, is key to ensuring the torch ship captain does not lose his way during interstellar exploration and can even more quickly and accurately locate resources such as alien territories, floating lands, and asteroid belts. Its importance is self-evident. The resources required for enhancing the radar were the same as those for the main cannon, but Songqi enhanced it to LV9 in one go. As the owner of the Jution Ruins market, his reluctance to give up participating in the exploration of alien star domains was for the sake of acquiring resources more quickly, and the better the effect of the space patrolling radar, the more accurately and swiftly he could locate resource points. Thus, it naturally became one of the primary components to enhance. To enhance the space patrolling radar to LV9, it cost a total of 81 strands of 0-rank floating land origin and 4500 spectral energy points. Space patrolling radar LV9. Quality colorless. Consumption 3/S spectral energy points. Detection range 10 light seconds. Precision 20. Up-rank requirement 100 strands of floating land origin, 0 rank, 1500 spectral energy points. As for why it wasn't enhanced directly to the colorless torch warship's limit of LV19. Note, the upper limit of a colorless torch warship is first rank, that is, LV10 LV19. The reason is actually quite simple. The current space patrolling radar is just a standard quality colorless radar that will definitely be replaced later, so there is really no need to enhance it to first rank now, especially since the resources spent on enhancement cannot be refunded when it's replaced later. Furthermore, the resources he had left at hand were not enough. According to his previous plans, he could only use about 700 strands of floating land origin for enhancing the spectral shuttle, and after all the enhancements, he had already used more than 300 strands, leaving less than 400 strands for future use. However, he still had to enhance the white quality special component at the Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree. Compared to colorless ship components, the resources needed to enhance special components of white quality are much more. Just to upgrade from LV0 to LV1, it requires 5 strands of 0-rank floating land origin plus 500 spectral energy points, which consumes a significant amount of floating land origin. However, no matter what, Song-Chi had to enhance it, as the Fire Peony Soldier effigy was key to his protection for a long time to come. Grinding his teeth, Song-Chi directly enhanced the component's level to LV10. Correspondingly, the nearly 400 strands of floating land origin he had just a second ago were now down to only 104 strands. With this, the enhancements prior to his exploration of the alien star domain were basically completed. The remaining 104 strands of floating land origin needed to be reserved for emergencies, in case he encountered danger during his exploration in the alien territories or found himself in some special circumstance requiring the use of this floating land origin for the most appropriate enhancement. As for the enhancement of the Seed of Torch within the Ancestral Torch and in Jution Ruins Market, after much consideration, he decided there was no rush. Ensuring his absolute safety during this first star domain exploration was paramount, and who knows, maybe this fortunate exploration might yield some impressive gains. Looking at the enhanced to first rank Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree component, its attributes were quite impressive. Fire Peony Soldier figurine tree LV10. Quality white. Consumption per 100/figure spectral energy points. Effect Fire Peony Soldier figurines summons 10 level LV10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines. Figurines can exist indefinitely as long as they do not die. Once dead, it takes 24 hours before they can be summoned again. Up rank requirement 10 strands of first rank floating land origin, 2000 spectral energy points. Looking at the attributes in front of him, a hint of satisfaction flashed in Song-Chi's eyes. It meant that as long as he wanted, he could summon 10 first-rank Fire Peony Soldier figurines to serve as his guards, absolutely loyal, the kind that follows orders without question. Moreover, as long as they were not killed or actively recalled, they could exist forever. Just thinking about it felt so imposing, it was simply too exhilarating. Once his mood stabilized, Song-Chi immediately began the next round of shopping. He needed to purchase various large machinery items, and his choice was the Eagle Machinery Store at the top level of the mall. As a large machinery chain store of the Chengxing Principality, it is rumored that the shareholder behind it is the powerful noble Marquis Eagle of the Principality. The various machinery products sold in the store are guaranteed to be of high quality. As an old man who was nearly 60 when combining his two lives, Song-Chi's eloquence was on point. After his persisting bargaining, hard, soft tactics, and considering that he indeed was buying not a few items, the store clerk happily gave him a 5% discount. Primary Interstellar Universal Medical Kit 500,000 credit points, Basic Nanorobot Repair Kit 1 million credit points, Fury Tiger I-Type Floating Land Mining Cart 3 million credit points, Mining Cart Specialized Prospector 500,000 credit points, Basic Chengxing Principality Civil Exoskeleton 200,000 credit points. Total of 5,200,000 Principality credit points, after a 5% discount that is 4,940,000. Will you be paying with credit points or floating land origin? He first swiped 2,400,000 credit points, then took out 254 strands of 0-rank floating land origin from the Ancestral Torch, then with a pained expression, completed the final payment under the store clerk's shining gaze. Not until he walked out of the mall's grand entrance, having only 110 strands of floating land origin left for emergency use, did Song-Chi's mind fill with complaints. In his view, these stores that sold large machinery products were incredibly extortionate. Take the basic nanorobot repair kit, for example. The effect was quite ordinary, and if the torch warship were to suffer serious damage, it couldn't even complete the repairs. Yet such a product that could be mass-produced on an assembly line was priced at an astonishing 1 million credit points, and the crux of the matter was its strict usage limit, only up to 3 uses. After 3 uses, it would be scrapped, truly a rip-off. The primary Interstellar Universal Medical Kit was the same, with weak treatment effects and also limited to 3 uses. Then there was the Fury Tiger I-Type Floating Land Mining Cart. The manually driven one sold for $1 million, yet just by adding a simple automatic driving system, the price skyrocketed by 3 times. If it weren't for someone like Song-chi who ingrained prudence in his very bones, nobody would buy such a thing. On the way home, without any further mishaps, he didn't waste the remaining time of the day and specifically went to the Jution Ruins Market to the omnifunctional cultivation room to practice the spectral energy guidance technique. However, it might be because his current level of the guidance technique had reached LV4 while the omnifunctional cultivation room was still LV0, or perhaps the difficulty of advancing a LV4 guidance technique was just too high. In any case, after several hours, he didn't feel any noticeable progress in his cultivation of the guidance technique. Time passed, and the next morning arrived. After breakfast, Song-chi first rushed to the academy to gather with his classmates, and then all the awakening students from the First Torch Academy of Jeongwon, along with their concerned parents, Song-chi's father and mother included, closely followed the large troop to the suburbs. Along the way, Song-chi and others encountered many awakening students from other Torch academies. Chapter 9, Alien Star Domain Ruins Market Test. Chapter 9, Alien Star Domain Ruins Market Test. As one of the 5 major cities on White Tower floating land, Jeongwon City had a population exceeding 20 million, with each cohort of students surpassing 100,000. With such a sizable number of students, it was natural that not only the First Torch Academy existed. Even though the First Torch Academy gathered all the elite student sources of Jeongwon City, it was not possible to encompass all the awakening students of Jeongwon City. According to past practice, the number of students who successfully awoke each term was generally around 1,000. Half an hour later, in the suburbs of Jeongwon City, on the ultra-long-range Starry launching platform, the number of citizens from Jeongwon City gathered here had already surpassed 5,000. As one of the few major events in Jeongwon City each year, the crowd that came to watch the Alien Star Domain launching ceremony was not small. Moreover, if you added the newly arrived students, teachers, and parents, the number of people around the launching platform at this moment had reached the tens of thousands. About 20 minutes later, once the district director of the Torch Bureau in White Tower verified that all of this year's awakening students from Jeongwon City had arrived, the Alien Star Domain launching formally began. The students of Jeongwon's First Torch Academy were not the first to take the stage, on the contrary, they were scheduled as the finale. Even far away in Jeongwon's central city district, every 20 minutes or so, you could still see the giant pillars of light soaring into the sky, and after each pillar of light that represented 100 newly awakened students from Jeongwon City being launched into the unknown starry sea light years away. Song-chi and Sun Hao were in the same batch. They went up on stage together, quickly summoned their spectral shuttles and lined up neatly. When 100 spectral shuttles were in formation, an officer from the Torch Bureau just outside the launching platform gave the command. A kilometer-wide column of light shot up into the vault of heaven. As 100 spectral shuttles disappeared above the platform, the parents and many other relatives outside the launching platform, including Song's father and mother, did not choose to leave. Instead, they took out those specific tents from their backpacks and started to slowly set them up. They were going to wait here all night because the initial phase of the Alien Star Domain exploration lasted 24 hours, and in case of emergency, one could choose to return home actively. Out of concern for their children, no parent was willing to go home, preferring to wait here all night. The strong sensation of weightlessness caused Song-chi to instinctively close his eyes, and the violent shaking made the shuttle's body seem to creak. If he hadn't already fastened his seat belt, he didn't dare to imagine what would happen to him. As the sense of weightlessness and dizziness acting on him significantly decreased, without waiting for his body to calm down, Song-chi, fighting the extreme discomfort in his heart, forced his eyes open and rapidly activated the spectral shield components on his shuttle. Song-chi firmly agreed with a phrase his old class teacher often said, "The starry sea alien race will not wait for you to recover your senses. What you need to do is to always be one step ahead of your opponent, whether it's taking action or fleeing." The spectral shield, enhanced to LV7, had a charging time of 23 seconds, a little over 20 seconds later. When the black shield on the surface of the spectral shuttle was fully activated, Song-chi finally breathed a sigh of relief. Only then did he have time to adjust his physical state and check the environment outside the shuttle. As for why he didn't activate the spectral shield before the launch, this involves another common sense of the Torch human civilization. During ultra-long-range deployment, the warship actually needs to withstand tremendous forces of spatial compression. If one activated the energy shield in advance under the effect of special power, overloading the energy shield would be inevitable. After all, even the strongest energy shield can't possibly match the mighty power of the void. And what it meant for an energy shield of a torch worship to overload did not need to be belabored. As far as Song-Chi knew, once an energy shield overloaded, it would take at least half an hour to reactivate, with some even taking up to an hour. During this period, although the torch worship wasn't completely defenseless, its defenses were reduced by at least 70%, significantly increasing its vulnerability. Therefore, activating the warship's energy shield before deployment was a major taboo for all torch ship captains. His gaze fixated on the screen, Song-Chi furrowed his brows slightly. The screen was pitch black, indicating that there were no star-like celestial bodies or floating lands nearby. Turning to the radar detection results, it showed the same. Within the detection range, there was no trace of large celestial bodies or floating lands. There weren't even any signs of small fragment belts. Seeing this, a slight sense of unease formed in Song-Chi's heart, but he didn't dwell on it immediately, as his mind was still preoccupied with another matter. After repeatedly confirming that there were no dangers around the shuttle, he took out the Starry Sea Ruins market token that was still worn on his chest and quickly started channeling spectral energy into the token. It's important to note that the Anger Tiger model Starry Sea floating land mining cart, specialized prospecting instrument, and other large items were still stored in the Ruins market. I have to be able to enter. Song-Chi inwardly shouted desperately. Whether or not he could access the Jution Ruins market in the alien star domain was extremely important and could greatly determine the upper limits of his future achievements. How could he not be worried? As the spectral energy continued to infuse, Song-Chi's heart sank bit by bit as the Star Sea Ruin market token showed no reaction. Just as he was about to give up, a familiar force of attraction abruptly acted upon his body. Feeling this pulling force, Song-Chi could hardly conceal his excitement, his face brimming with joy. The next moment, his figure vanished from within the spectral shuttle. At the same time, in the Jution Ruins market, Song-Chi's figure quietly appeared. Having confirmed this result, he didn't stay in the marketplace any longer. With a thought, he exited the Ruins market and returned to the spectral shuttle. See the novel_fire.8 website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. At the shuttle's control console, having resolved the most crucial issue, Song-Chi could finally focus all his attention on exploring this unknown star domain. The first few phases of a torch warship's journey in an alien star domain were limited to only 24 hours. If one wanted to acquire resources, there was little time to waste. Although the resources in the shattered Starry Sea were extremely rich, it didn't mean that any given star domain would be teeming with a bounty of rare resources. To collect resources, the prerequisite was finding resource points like an asteroid belt, a small fragment belt, or a Starry Sea floating land, which had a high rate of resource presence. The breadth of the shattered Starry Sea was vast and stretched endlessly across light years. A torch warship scattered within it was less significant than a grain of sand in a vast sea. Therefore, finding such resource points in a mere day's time was actually much more difficult than one might imagine. That was why torch human civilization had always repeatedly stressed that a good space radar was more valuable than anything else. With the Level 7 spectral engine fully activated, Song-Chi set off at cruising speed at the speed of light in one direction, while Song-Chi's eyes repeatedly swept over the space radar, filled with anticipation. Chapter 10, The Fire Peony Soldier Figurine, Small Fragment Belt. Chapter 10, Fire Peony Soldier Figurine, Small Fragment Belt. Half an hour passed quickly, and the brightness in Song-Chi's eyes gradually dimmed, his complexion turning pale. Could it really be such bad luck to be thrown into a Starry Sea hollow zone on my first exploration of the star domain? The vast shattering of the multiverse that occurred a billion years ago indeed left countless cosmic fragments, but the shattered Starry Sea was so vast, immeasurably so in light years, that the cosmic fragments scattered throughout the Starry Sea couldn't completely cover it, hence the so-called Starry Sea hollow zones were created. Generally speaking, the various Starry Sea civilizations describe those star domains which span over 10,000 light-years in diameter and lack internal structures like floating lands, asteroid belts, small fragment belts, or possess only a minimal number of such structures, as Starry Sea hollow zones. Such regions are usually places all starry sea civilizations are reluctant to step foot into, for a lack of celestial structures also means the extreme scarcity of various resources. If Song-Chi were indeed placed in such a star domain, then he could only consider himself unlucky. However, the reality wasn't so grim. After cruising at light speed for over an hour, Song-Cheong finally detected a sizable fragment belt on the spatial radar. Seeing this, Song-Chi quickly redirected the shuttle's course, heading straight for the fragment belt. Even though among the various resource points, the value of a small fragment belt was the least significant, not only compared to floating lands but also far less than asteroid belts, Song-Chi was quite excited. According to the official authoritative data from Torch human civilization, even though the mortality rate for Torch warships during their first exploration of an alien star domain is only 5%, beyond this tiny mortality rate, more than 70% of the Torch warships that return from their missions do so without any gains. Thus, Song-Chi was very clear about how precious this fragment belt he discovered was. Even though he knew full well that where fragment belts appeared, a starry sea floating land would definitely exist somewhere not too far away, Song-Chi had no intention of searching for this unknown floating land. His goal was very clear, aimed directly at this fragment belt. As a Torch warship that had just recently merged, even with the support of his parents and a round of enhancement upgrades beforehand, within the vast starry sea that started at light years, this was but a drop in the bucket. One must understand that when textbooks say near a small fragment there must be a starry sea floating land, the term not too far away is actually relative. In reality, the distance is generally beyond what a spectral shuttle could reach within 24 hours. Attempting to investigate that unknown floating land would likely result in running out of the 24-hour exploration time before even obtaining the precise coordinates. Even if he were lucky enough to reach the unknown floating land, the delay would not leave him much time to scavenge for resources, so it is better to stay and explore the current fragment belt. Even though the resources in the fragment belt indeed couldn't compare in rarity to those found on planet belts and floating lands, right now this was something Song-Chi could truly lay his hands on. Moreover, one mustn't forget that in the ruins market there was also the Furious Tiger mining cart. If the unit price wasn't comparable, then he would make up for it in quantity. Soon, Song-Cheong successfully reached the periphery of the fragment belt and confirmed it was indeed the small fragment belt as introduced in the textbooks. Song-Chi suppressed his eagerness. First, he took out that basic Dutch civilian exoskeleton stored in the shuttle's warehouse and put it on. Then, he activated the sole special component on Song-Cheong, the Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree. After consuming a full 1,000 spectral energy points from the spectral energy pool, 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines, each over 2 meters tall and exuding a fiery red hue, were summoned. Looking at the 10 soldier figurines standing neatly before him, their presence burning intensely like fire, a hint of satisfaction appeared in Song-Chi's eyes. These 10 first-rank Fire Peony Soldier figurines would provide the support he needed for the upcoming exploration of the small fragment belt. Although they were only at the beginning of the first rank, even when encountering up to 5 first-rank alien species, they were more than enough to ensure Song-Cheong's safety. Name: the Fire Peony Soldier figurine. Quality: white. Rank: first rank, upper limit second rank. Level: male V10. Active ability: none. Passive ability: fiery intensity. As a fire attribute soldier figurine, attacks carry extra burn damage. Explanation: the product of some lost civilization, of quite ordinary quality. Ordering the 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines to guard evenly around himself, Song-Chi's glabella flashed with ghost light, and in the next second, the Song-Cheong below his feet suddenly disappeared, taken into the ancestral torch aperture at his brow. The next second, Song-Chi and the 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines were all exposed in the external starry space, then a wave of discomfort instantly swept over his body, instinctively holding his breath. As a member of the starry sea human race with only LV4 in guidance technique and still at 0 rank life level, Song-Chi couldn't adapt to the special environment of star space. Only life forms above first rank could stay in interstellar space for extended periods. Luckily, there was no gravity in starry space, and preliminary detection had shown that there were no special spores or floating viruses present, so the 11 figures were quietly suspended there. Ordering the Fire Peony soldier figurines to wait in place, the Song Chi's figure quickly vanished, and 2 minutes later, when he reappeared, he once again summoned the Song Chiong. However, by this time, several large objects had appeared in the cabin of the Song Chiong. In the cabin, after fitting the mining cart specialized prospecting instrument onto the Furious Tiger Type 1 floating land mining cart alongside 2 Fire Peony soldier figurines, Song Chi controlled the Song Chiong, slowly entering the small fragment belt ahead. This fragment belt stretched for tens of thousands of kilometers, filled with large and small stellar fragments, where a slight mishap could cause collisions, making light-speed cruise like before impossible. Fortunately, it wasn't necessary to scout fragment by fragment. The onboard artificial intelligence of the previously loaded Furious Tiger mining cart would automatically conduct detection. If there were special mineral resources within 10 kilometers of the Song Chiong, the vehicle's AI would promptly issue a reminder. Advancing slowly, the vehicle's AI occasionally sent alerts, but Song Chi had yet to instruct the Song Chiong to stop. Radiation response for black copper detected on the fragment at the left-hand coordinates XXXX, preliminarily estimated at around 100 kilograms. Radiation response for fine iron detected on the medium fragment ahead at coordinates XXXX, preliminarily estimated at around 50 kilograms. Radiation response for gold detected on the left-hand coordinates, preliminarily estimated at around 200 kilograms. Search the ovalfire.8 website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Though the vehicle's AI issued numerous prompts, they were mostly for common resources, which were pitifully scarce. Not to mention ton-level reserves, there wasn't even 300 kilograms or more, so they were simply not worth mining. One should note that each stop for the Spectral Shuttle, deploying the Furious Tiger mining cart to start mining, would take at least half an hour, even more than an hour would not be surprising. Thus, spending such a long time to mine a couple of 100 kilograms of ordinary mineral resources, worth less than a wisp of zero-rank floating land origin, was incredibly uneconomical. As for towing the fragments containing the ore directly back to the shuttle, sorry, that was a function reserved for spectral warships and above, the exclusive purview of torch warships. Spectral Shuttle, Spectral Airship, a Spectral Warship. Chapter 11, The Super High Efficiency of the Angry Tiger, a Floating Land Mining Cart. Chapter 11, The Super High Efficiency of the Angry Tiger, a Floating Land Mining Cart. About half an hour later, the intelligence system on the Furious Tiger mining cart issued another alert. Radiation reaction of mithril ore detected on the fragment at the left coordinates XXXXX with a preliminary estimate of over 10 tons. Song Chi's first instinct was to ignore it, but he then realized what he had. Mithril? As much as 10 tons. If he remembered correctly, mithril was a resource even more valuable than electrum. The average price of electrum was around 1.0 rank floating land origin per ton, whereas the price of mithril was as high as 5.0 rank floating land origin per ton. If it really was over 10 tons of mithril, it was definitely worth mining. Don't think that 50.0 rank floating land origin is little. The reason why Song Chi could have 1000 points of 0 rank floating land origin as startup capital was that he had 2 parents who were also torch ship captains. A typical torch warship returning from an exploration of the alien star domain would usually gain about 100 points of 0 rank floating land origin. The 50 points he could get from this find would already be half of that amount. Without much hesitation, he maneuvered the Song Chiong towards the left, carefully moving towards the coordinates where the small fragment suspected of containing mithril was located. Song Chi was in no rush. As he moved forward, he constantly checked the radar. After reaching level 4 in the guidance technique, the enhancements he gained were not limited to his physique, his spiritual strength was significantly bolstered as well. Simple multitasking was just basic for him. It was said that at higher levels of the guidance technique, managing 10 things at once, or even more, was not out of the question. Although the standard patrol radar lacked the ability to detect life signals, it could still pick up on high-rank stellar sea creatures moving at full speed or the approach of special warships from alien civilizations within the Starry Sea. However, the chances of encountering a high-rank stellar sea creature or an advanced alien civilization during the first welfare deployment phase were very, very slim. With no other incidents occurring, the Song Chiong soon arrived at the target fragment. This was a small fragment tens of meters long and far larger in volume than the Tsongcheong itself. Song-chi didn't rush to deploy the mining cart. Instead, he had the Tsongcheong circle around the area to rule out any dangers. Only after ensuring safety did he stop the shuttle on the surface of the target fragment. After that, it was out of his hands. The intelligence system on board the Furious Tiger Type 1 floating land mining cart automatically took control, leaving the Tsongcheong's bait to the position of strongest radiation and commenced mining operations on its own. Inside the Tsongcheong, the Song-chi quietly waited. He appeared expressionless on the surface, but deep down, he was extremely satisfied. The Furious Tiger mining cart may have been expensive, but its efficiency in operation was quite impressive. If other newly awakened torch ship captains had to mine manually, extracting this 10 tons of mithril would take at least 5 hours. However, with the efficiency of the Furious Tiger mining cart, it would take at most 40 minutes to finish the job. As Song-chi predicted, 35 minutes later, the Furious Tiger Type 1 floating land mining cart returned to the Tsongcheong's bay, carrying 10 tons of mithril, not even a full 40 minutes later. Song-chi quickly visited the ruins market, dumped the 10 tons of mithril in the vacant area, and continued his exploration. 2 hours later, the Tsongcheong was still slowly navigating through the fragment belt. Since the 10 tons of mithril, no other find had prompted him to take action a second time. Either the value was too low or the quantity too small. However, the recent detection of over 8 tons of electrum raw ore by the prospector did pique his interest. Although refining the raw ore would result in some loss, he could still sell it for about 5 or 6 points of zero-rank floating land origin. It wasn't much, but even a mosquito's leg is meat. It was better than aimlessly meandering around. Amidst his dilemma, the intelligence system of the mining cart once again chimed in with a reminder. A moderate copperite radiation zone has been detected, with a conservative estimate of the copperite reserves exceeding 500 tons. The fragment coordinates are XXXXX. Song-chi's eyebrows rose, then he quickly pulled himself out of his quandary. At the same time, detailed information about copperite surfaced in his mind. Copperite is a low-rank metal resource, typically priced around 1 tassel of zero-rank floating land origin for 5 tons, not very valuable. However, despite that, the quantity is considerable. Conservatively over 500 tons, if fully mined, could fetch over 100 tassels of zero-rank floating land origin. If other low-rank torch warships came across it, they would likely not bother with it, not to mention whether they carry a Furious Tiger mining cart at all times. Even if they could mine it all, figuring out how to transport it back would also be a problem. But Song-chi was different, with Jution Ruins Market and a Furious Tiger Type 1 floating land mining cart at his disposal. He was determined to acquire these hundreds of tons of copperite. No sooner said than done. Just like the first time, he circled the target fragment to ensure there was no danger before deploying the mining cart below to start the mining operations autonomously. The extraction of several hundred tons of copperite would not be difficult, but obviously, it could not be completed quickly. Not wanting to waste this time, Song-chi removed the mining cart's specialized prospecting instrument to use during the mining cart's operation. He planned to take advantage of this interval while the mining cart was working to prospect the surrounding area in advance. That way, as soon as the Furious Tiger mining cart finished mining this batch of copperite, they could immediately move on to the next task. Even though removing the prospector would somewhat affect the mining speed of the Furious Tiger mining cart, after weighing the options, operating them separately for a while was the more cost-effective strategy. Before leaving, not entirely at ease, Song-chi left 3 Fire Peony soldier figurines to guard the fragment to prevent the considerable commotion from the work of the Furious Tiger mining cart from attracting the attention of unknown creatures. Several hours later, hundreds of kilometers away from the fragment where the Furious Tiger mining cart was located, the Tsongcheong slightly jolted as the prospector sent out another prompt. Without the active reminders from the vehicular intelligence, Song-chi had to leave the pilot's seat to check manually. Mercury crystals, 10 kilograms. This stuff is even more valuable than mithril, but alas, the quantity is too small, not worth mining. Just then, the patrol radar on the console behind him suddenly started emitting a series of alarms. Song-chi, with quick reflexes, rushed back to the pilot console, his gaze sweeping back and forth between the radar and projection screens. He quickly identified the source of the radar. Alarms. On the radar display out in the fragment belt thousands of kilometers away, hundreds of previously stationary fragments had almost simultaneously undergone a significant shift. This was clearly not normal, otherwise the patrol radar would not have set off an alarm. Search *the overfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Song Chi's eyes narrowed slightly, his expression solemn. Such commotion could not have been caused by zero-rank energy fluctuations. Thinking this, he instinctively shrank his neck, unwilling to get involved in the hassle. Chapter 12, Starry Sea Alien Race * Level 1 Spectral Shield. Chapter 12, A Starry Sea Alien Race * Level 1 Spectral Shield. With control over the Jution Ruins market, all he needed to do was to focus on stable development. Adventure was truly not something he considered. However, upon further thought, the scale of the energy fluctuations, although far beyond zero rank, did not reach the second rank level. Moreover, since this deployment was a welfare exploration, it was unlikely that threats too significant for the Tsongcheong would appear in the vicinity. See novelfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Contemplating this, he turned his head to glance at the 7 Fire Peony soldier figurine standing erect beside him. Assured that he had a reliable certainty of retreating with his whole body intact, Song Chi made his decision. He altered the course of his shuttle, heading straight towards the area where the disturbance had just occurred. An hour later, behind a large piece of debris, the Tsongcheong had already extinguished its engines and was quietly docking on the debris. This piece of debris was over 20 meters in both length and width and perfectly concealed the body of the Tsongcheong. On the other side of the debris was a vacuum area enveloped within the fragment belt, different from the Starry Sea Hollow Zone. The diameter was very small, no more than 10,000 meters, and at the very center of the vacuum zone was a flat piece of debris nearly 1,000 meters in diameter. Song Chi guessed that the anomaly detected by the patrol radar likely originated from this piece of debris. Massive energy had burst forth from the debris, pushing all other pieces thousands of meters away, except for this one. However, the truth of the situation was no longer important now. What mattered was that Song Chi could determine that something extraordinary must be on that large floating land, because in just over 10 minutes of observation, he had seen no fewer than 3 waves of alien species with peculiar wings pouring into the debris. And crucially, these alien species started fighting each other after landing on the debris. Consequently, Song Chi speculated that whatever object or resource was on that large piece of debris had to be so rare that it drove these alien species into a frenzy. Otherwise, it would not have caused these clearly same species alien species to kill each other. As for Song Chi himself, it was impossible for him not to be curious, but he did not act rashly. At this moment, on that large piece of debris with a diameter of over 1,000 meters, there were hundreds of these winged alien species, including about a dozen of first rank. He was waiting for the analysis result from the semi-automatic shipboard intelligent brain aboard the Tsongcheong. Every torch ship captain who embarked on explorations into the alien star domain would surely download a copy of the basic data on all known Starry Sea civilizations, publicly released by the Torch Human Civilization. But the amount of information contained in this data was so enormous that even with the analytical speed of the shipboard intelligence, it took quite some time to verify. Of course, this was likely related to the fact that all Torch warships came equipped with only the lowest rank of semi-automatic intelligent brains. Nonetheless, there was no helping it, as the Torch civilization had specific regulations stating that all shipboard intelligent brains on Torch warships could only be semi-automatic. No one could blame Torchlight humanity for imposing such a restriction. There were too many examples of Starry Sea civilizations where subordinate intelligent brains became the masters, transforming civilizations into mechanical ones. Such a risk had to be guarded against. Several minutes later, the shipboard intelligent brain finally provided a comparison result. Species name: White-winged tribe. Introduction: an extremely common void creature in the shattered Starry Sea. They do not rely on floating land for survival and can move freely in the Starry Sea void. Species advantage: agile, with astonishing speed. Species weakness: very weak offensive capabilities. Under the same rank, it is very difficult for them to penetrate the energy shields of Torch warships. The White-winged tribe Staring at the virtual screen projected by the shipboard intelligent brain, and after a comparison confirming that they were indeed this species known as the white-winged tribe, Song-Chi thoughtfully mused. If the data given by the Torch civilization officials was correct, a bold idea had emerged in his mind. At this moment, there were still 110 strands of zero-rank floating land origin and nearly 200 zero-rank life cores in his ancestral torch. To upgrade the spectral shield from level 7 to level 8, it required 15 strands of floating land origin plus 12 life cores. The upgrade from level 8 to level 9 needed 17 strands of floating land origin plus 13 life cores, and the upgradation to level 10 required 50 strands of floating land origin plus 40 life cores. By his calculations, to upgrade the spectral shield to first rank, a total of 82 strands of floating land origin and 65 life cores were needed. The emergency resources he had left were entirely sufficient for this. As for spectral energy points, a matter of a few minutes to replenish, they were not important. And as long as the spectral shield was enhanced to first rank, it would be impossible for the combined attacks of hundreds from the white-winged tribe to break the shield value provided by the spectral shield component for a short time. This was because the shield value provided by the components of a first-rank spectral shield would soar to 1,000 points. Furthermore, with the full protection of the Fire Peony Soldier figurine also of first rank, there was a great possibility of success. After hesitating for a moment, Song-Chi no longer wavered. The resources he had saved were intended for emergency use at critical moments, so why wait if not now? After several consecutive clicks, the level 7 spectral shield component was enhanced all the way to level 10 at the cost of significantly depleting the resource reserves on the Tsongchyo. There were only 28 strands of zero-rank floating land origin left and just over 100 life cores. Fortunately, the attributes of the level 10 spectral shield weren't too bad. Spectral shield level 10. Quality, colorless. Consumption, 20/S spectral energy points. Defense, 99. Shield value, 990/990. Charge, 20s, post-overload buffer, 40 minutes. Up-rank requirement, 100 strands of zero-rank floating land origin, 1600 spectral energy points to 50 zero-rank life cores. As a standardized component of colorless quality, after being enhanced to first rank, the subsequent enhancement of the spectral shield component still only requires zero-rank floating land origin and zero-rank life cores, which is much more convenient than the subsequent enhancements required for white race or higher strange object components. However, with the resources on the Tsongchyo nearly exhausted, further enhancement was no longer possible. After enhancing the spectral shield, Song-Chi still made no move. He naturally didn't feel at ease just after the spectral shield component was enhanced. He first turned off the spectral shield and waited until the spectral energy points in the Yonang pool were fully replenished. Then, he controlled the Tsongchyo to start heading back the way he came. He wouldn't foolishly act hastily. Considering the situation, the fight between the white-winged tribe members was unlikely to end in a short time. Given that, it was obviously better to first go back and collect the furious tiger mining cart, and along the way gather some of the valuable resources he had already marked. When the 24-hour exploration limit was about to end, he would look for an opportunity to take action. In that case, even if it was not feasible at that time, he could escape conveniently. Of course, if he came back later and the battle had already ended and the remains on the fragment had been taken, then it simply meant that the unknown object was not fated to be his, and Song-Chi would not insist on acquiring it. More than 10 hours later, Song-Chi returned precisely to the area of the small hollow. By now, only half an hour remained of the 24-hour limit since his initial deployment into the alien star domain. Looking ahead at the large fragment, there were still more than 200 of the remaining white-winged tribe members. Likely, a few more groups had arrived after he had left. The only point that frustrated Song-Chi was that, over 10 hours, not only had the number of first-rank members of the white-winged tribe not decreased, but there were actually several more. Now, there were nearly 21st-rank members of the white-winged tribe on that fragment. Chapter 13, Level 1 Floating Land Origin Core Fusion Body, please follow. Chapter 13, Level 1 Floating Land Origin Core Fusion Body, please follow. Although there were quite a few first-rank White-winged tribe members, Song-chi hesitated only for a moment before the next second saw that Song-cheong, wrapped in a layer of spectral shield, suddenly burst out from the fragment belt and charged straight towards the large fragment in the void area ahead. The engines were running at overcapacity, and the Song-cheong, speeding at the speed of light, almost instantly reached the central region above the large fragment. The reason Song-chi chose this spot to land the Song-cheong was that nearly 21st-rank White-winged tribe members were tacitly surrounding this area, so it didn't take much thought to deduce that the high-level resource, or the Starry Sea oddity, was likely located around here. Ignored the momentarily confused and bewildered White-winged tribe members, Song-chi's gaze swiftly scanned around on the shuttle's projection screen, while his ears waited for the prompt from the furious tiger mining cats on board intelligence. Warning, a severe radiation source detected. Energy level is strong. First rank, estimated results as follows. Third rank or higher life core, 32% probability. Starry Sea civilization's residual nuclear fusion reaction core, 48% probability. Level 1 floating land origin core initial fusion body, 95% probability. Quickly skimming the first two and dismissing any result below 50% probability as unreliable, which is common sense, his gaze just landed on the third item when Song-chi suddenly let out a soft cry, his heart filled with wild joy. He had never imagined that the object derived from the large fragment below would be this. A Level 1 floating land origin core initial fusion body, also known as the initial form of Level 1 floating land origin core, is the initial form of a floating land origin core and also the source of continual production of the floating land origin, with every piece of Starry Sea floating land necessarily having a core of origin. That is to say, if not for him and the group of White-winged tribe who happened to discover the anomaly, by the time this floating land origin core fully evolved into shape, the large fragment below would keep merging with the many surrounding fragments, and after 1,000 years, it would completely transform into a regular piece of Starry Sea floating land. However, there clearly wasn't any chance for that now, as even the lowest rank 1 floating land origin core had an unimaginable attraction for the vast majority of species in the Starry Sea. It could not only promote the evolutionary advancement of certain life forms, but it also belonged to a category of mid to high-level Starry Sea oddities and was the perfect material for creating high-level energy cores. For the Starry Sea mechanical race civilizations, this object could be sold for an astronomical price, as it was sufficient to allow an ordinary mechanical being to leap through several ranks and provide nearly endless energy. Of course, the floating land origin core below was only a lowest rank 1 origin core, at most allowing a mechanical life form to advance to third rank. However, even so, for someone like Song-chi, who was just beginning to awaken and still hovering at the stage of a zero-rank ordinary person, its value was already beyond imagination. Because he was acutely aware of the value of the origin core below, at that moment, there was only one thought left in Song-chi's mind. With such a minuscule chance event unfolding, since I've encountered it, I must give it my all. From the sudden appearance of the Song-cheong to when Song-chi got all the information sorted out, it seemed to take quite a while, but in reality, it was less than 10 seconds. By this time, the hundreds of White-winged tribe members below had also reacted, raising their weapons and collectively projecting their full power towards the Song-cheong. A moment before, they were slaughtering each other, but upon the entrance of the unidentified shuttle Song-cheong, they immediately unified their front, pointing their forces outward as one. Song-chi's reaction was also swift, manipulating the control stick in his hand. 2 exquisite maneuvers dodged most of the projected weapons. Then, with a tilt of the shuttle's body, the Song-cheong targeted the crack over 10 meters in diameter right below and shot into it, disappearing before the eyes of all the White-winged tribe members. Inside the large fragment's crevice, the Song-cheong's descent was not slow. By continuously observing the surroundings, Song-chi concluded that the crevice was not formed long ago and could well have been the result of the recent intense energy outburst. The reason for the sudden energy burst most likely stemmed from the evolving Type 1 floating land origin core fusion body deep within the large fragment. The not yet fully formed floating land origin core, with its internal energy not 100% stable, made such accidental energy eruptions quite normal. Humming. The spectral shield on the surface of the Song-cheong fluctuated with ripples, a sign that the pursuing White-winged tribe was attacking. Even with Song Chi's superb skills, there was no way for Song Cheong, in such close quarters, to match the agility of the White-winged tribe, who had the advantage of their wings. 918/990. 766/990. The shield value of the spectral shield was dropping at a visibly fast rate, and Song Chi had lost his previous composure, his heartbeat accelerating rapidly. Minutes later, Song Chi spotted some good news, as the number of White-winged tribe pursuing them started to significantly decrease as the Song Cheong continued to descend, until at last, only 18 first-rank White-winged tribe members persisted. However, he soon understood the reason. Even without the attacks from the first-rank White-winged tribe behind them, the shield value of the spectral shield continued to drop at a steady rate. Song Chi, who had realized too late, now understood the situation. Obviously, the closer they got to the origin core fusion body near the bottom of the rift, the more intense the external pressure from increasing energy, which he hadn't felt at all due to the isolation provided by the spectral shield. 499/990. Seeing the shield value fall below 500 points, Song Chi gritted his teeth while simultaneously slamming down on the hand that gripped the control stick, and in the next instant, the Song Cheong abruptly accelerated and swooped down at a speed far exceeding its previous one. He was well aware that he needed to reach the position of the floating land origin core fusion body below as quickly as possible, otherwise, even if he found it later, he wouldn't have enough time to collect it. Without the protection of the first-rank spectral shield, facing an energy shock nearly at second rank with his current LV4 guidance technique would be tantamount to suicide. I must reach the floating land origin core and bring it on board the Song Cheong before the spectral shield components overload. With this single thought in mind, Song Chi had no further concerns, whether it was collisions with the rift walls or the occasional attacks from the first-rank White-winged tribe behind him. To him, they were now out of consideration. As a result, the speed at which the Song Cheong descended increased nearly twofold, and correspondingly, the rate at which the spectral shield's value dropped was even faster. After tens of seconds, in Song Chi's anxious gaze, the Type 1 floating land origin core fusion body finally appeared at the edge of Song Cheong's field of vision. Instinctively, he pushed the thrust lever forward once more, and to the outside observer, the Song Cheong appeared like a streak of light, flashing just for an instant as it swept up to the vicinity of the origin core fusion body. Chapter 14, a success. Chapter 14, a success. The space above the floating land origin core, radiating terrifying thermal energy, the shuttle bay of the Song Cheong warship slowly opened. In addition, the traction beam also shot out from within the shuttle, aiming straight at the fusion body of the origin core. The moment the traction beam acted on the fusion body of the origin core, Song Chi felt a significant repulsion, an innate resistance from the fusion body against this unfamiliar constraining force. This very repulsion made the traction progress of Song Cheong exceedingly slow. Seeing this, Song Chi, who had been closely monitoring the spectral shield component, turned extremely unsightly. Just a second ago, the shield value of the spectral shield had already plunged below 200, leaving only a little over 100 points remaining, and it was still dropping rapidly at nearly 10 points per second. However, Song Chi had no solution to this. Essentially, Song Cheong was just a zero-rank spectral shuttle, pulling an object equivalent to a peak first-rank one. It was a case of a cart being drawn by a tiny horse. Neither the spectral shield nor the fire peony soldier effigy tree had any direct connection to the traction beam. If he hadn't been certain it was only an incompletely formed floating land origin core, still lacking a complete instinct, coupled with the torch warship's feature that any starry sea oddity, no matter the level, could be transformed into harmless torch components once brought aboard, why would Song Chi rashly venture into danger? Another 10 seconds or so passed, and under the persistent effort of the traction beam, the fusion body of the floating land origin core was now not far from the Song Cheong's shuttle bay, with success seemingly within reach. Swish, swish, swish. However, at this moment, several whooshing sounds abruptly came from behind, as more than a dozen heavily stepping members of the first-rank White-winged tribe were once again in pursuit. This time they were wiser, knowing that their attacks could hardly damage Song Cheong within a short time. They shifted their target, aiming to interrupt Song Cheong's traction process. Song Chi's eyes flashed coldly. Having just seen hope in capturing the fusion body of the floating land origin core, how could he allow such a situation to occur? Block those attacks. Upon receiving Song Chi's command, 10 fiery red figures surged out from the Song Cheong's shuttle bay simultaneously. With tungsten gold war shields in their left hands and tungsten gold lances in their right, they charged directly at the dozens of incoming attacks, executing Song Chi's orders to perfection. Clang, clang, clang. There was a constant succession of metallic clashes, as the 10 fire peony soldier figurines didn't let a single attack pierce their defensive line. Phew. Song Chi took a deep breath, his heart, which had been in his throat, settling back down before he again issued the free attack command. Instantly, the fire peony soldier figurines wielding combat shields and lances stepped forward in unison. The strands of fiery red light they emitted created a scene that was rather pleasing to the eye. But Song Chi understood this was just a facade. Relying on their puppet bodies, the pressure and high temperatures from the fusion body of the floating land origin core would not greatly affect them over a short duration. However, once they engaged in direct combat with the White-Winged tribe in nearly double their number, the fire peony soldier figurines would quickly be at a disadvantage. After all, every one of the 10 fire peony soldier figurines was just at level 10, barely possessing the strength of early first rank, and the tungsten gold shields and spears they were equipped with had good hardness but quite ordinary attack power. Yet that didn't matter anymore. As long as the fire peony soldier figurines could hold out for more than 5 seconds, that would be enough. He had never counted on defeating or even killing any of the White-Winged tribe. Time passed, and what used to be a brief second now felt exceptionally long to Song Chi. 56/990. 47/990. 37/990. Just as the shield value of the spectral shield was about to drop to 0, the level 1 floating land origin core fusion body was finally completely drawn into the engine room of the Song Cheong. Close shuttle bay doors. Turn the shuttle around. Spectral engine overload operation. There was no time to check the attributes of the floating land origin core fusion body, which had now transformed into an integrated ship component. Almost simultaneously with the successful traction, Song Chi's spirit operated at full speed. In a state of highly focused mind, he even faintly broke through his own limits and managed to achieve threefold mind utilization. Humming. Amid the roaring noise of the engine, Song Cheong turned into a residual image, charging straight towards the rift above. To speak nothing of checking the attributes of the componentized floating land origin core fusion body, at this moment Song Chi couldn't even spare a thought for the fire peony soldier figurines, his mind solely focused on escaping the rift space as quickly as possible. Without the strong energy fluctuations emitted by the floating land origin core fusion body, the several hundred members of the White-Winged tribe nearby were no longer restrained, and with the spectral shield nearing collapse, this was when the defenses of the Song Cheong were at their weakest. It wasn't just the first-rank White-Winged tribe to be wary of, even several hits from the zero-rank members could potentially lead to the destruction of the ship and death. Luckily, the 10 fire peony soldier figurines were holding back most of the first-rank White-Winged tribe, or else Song Chi might even have considered fleeing into the Jution ruins market. Of course, he would only take that step as a last resort. While taking refuge in the ruins market would ensure safety, who could say whether it would also trigger the return function of the torch warship? What if it didn't? Wouldn't that mean he would be stranded in this unknown star domain forever? According to the results of multiple tests over the past several hours, at present the entering and exiting the Jution ruins market was based on his own location. What did that mean, in simple terms? It meant that wherever he entered the Jution ruins market from, he could only exit at the same location. Because of this feature, if he missed the torch warship's automatic return, he would only be able to shuttle between this star domain and the Jution ruins market in the future, making it nearly impossible to return to the realms where torch human civilization resided. Just thinking about that possibility made Song Chi utterly reluctant. Even with the Jution ruins market available, where he could engage in market trades once a month to ensure subsequent resource acquisition, it wouldn't affect his continual enhancements and advancements. But the problem lay in the absence of the backing of a powerful civilization. No matter how strong an individual's combat power was, in the brutal Shattered Starry Sea, it was still extremely dangerous, because one could never imagine the horrifying depth of heritage a middle to high-level civilization with over 100,000 years of legacy could possess. Song Cheong. was racing through space, and although Song-Chi had already pushed the speed to its limit, many attacks from the White Wing tribe still landed on the hull of the shuttle. Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, the main cannon and secondary cannons on the Song-Cheong continued to fire towards the rear, either directly attacking the pursuing White Wing tribe or blasting the rock walls on both sides at the rear to obstruct the following alien horde with countless shattered rocks. However, there were too many members of the White Wing tribe, and this was merely a drop in the bucket. Soon, the spectral shield, already on the verge of collapse, shattered completely, and attacks began to land on the hull of the Song-Cheong. The only thing Song-Chi could be grateful for was that when he was enhancing the ship yesterday, he upgraded not only the spectral shield component but also the warship armor to LV7. Although the defensive power of this level of warship armor was far inferior to a first-rank spectral shield, as long as it wasn't attacked by a first-rank White Wing tribe member, it could hold out for a while. Chapter 15, a Purple Asterisk Nuclear Fusion Engine. Chapter 15, Purple Asterisk Nuclear Fusion Engine. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Just a second ago, Song-Chi was feeling relieved that no first-rank members of the White Wing tribe had caught up, when suddenly, the rear section of the Song-Cheong quivered violently. An attacker from the White Wing tribe had caught up from behind, launching a precise strike that hit the warship's tail. Warning, warship armor damaged by 34%, the warship integrity compromised by 13%, please conduct repairs immediately. Song-Chi's face paled with shock. Although the attack power of the White Wing tribe was generally weak, the fact that the warship armor was damaged by less than 6% from the strikes of a dozen zero-rank members had proven this. But no matter how low the damage was, an attack that spanned a rank was utterly alarming. A single blow from a first-rank member of the White Wing tribe had destroyed a quarter of the warship's armor, implying that if the Song-Cheong sustained 2 or 3 more hits, the warship itself would suffer irreversible damage. Activate the basic nanobot repair pack. In haste, Song-Chi issued a command to the semi-autonomous onboard intelligent brain and dared not be distracted, still fully controlling the Song-Cheong as it sped upward. His plan was simple: if he could just escape this rift, he would then be able to activate the lightspeed cruise capabilities of the warship without any reservations. Even if a first-rank member of the White Wing tribe was faster, they certainly could not match the speed of light. Warning, warship armor damaged by 36%, warship integrity compromised by 14%, please conduct repairs immediately. Basic nanobot repair pack activated. Warship armor repairing by 3%, warship integrity repairing by 4%, current damage level. Warning, warship armor damaged by 35%, warship integrity compromised by 12%, please conduct repairs immediately. Amid the continual sounds of damage and repair, no one knew how much time had passed when the Song-Cheong experienced another severe tremble, followed by even more frantic intelligent warnings. Severe warship damage, current warship armor damage level at 80%, warship integrity compromised by 62%. When warship integrity exceeds 80%, the shuttle will lose its ability to maneuver, please conduct repairs immediately. The second strike from the pursuing first-rank member of the White Wing tribe behind had instantly increased the extent of damage to the warship's integrity by more than half. Yet at that moment, a strong sense of joy suddenly burst in Song-Chi's eyes. After continued effort, the Song-Cheong finally broke free from the rift and re-entered the space above the fragments. Without any hesitation, the engines began to overwork. Down below, the hundreds of White Wing tribe members in pursuit simultaneously let out a strange shriek, firing their attacks one after another, including the sole first-rank member of the tribe. One could imagine that if this barrage of attacks hit the body of the Song-Cheong, the warship's integrity would inevitably be over 80% compromised, but in the end it was the Song-Cheong that was a step faster. Before the 100+ attacks could reach it, it had already turned into a lingering shadow that vanished above the fragments, reappearing at the edge of a distant void. Not until he plunged back into the fragment belt did the highly focused Song-Chi finally let out a sigh of relief, feeling a strong sense of exhaustion wash over his brain. Below the rift, due to intense concentration, he had broken through the limit of doing two things at once. Because he hadn't dared to relax at all before, he hadn't noticed, but now that he relaxed, the after effects immediately became evident. About this, Song-Chi was not surprised and even felt a secret excitement deep inside. Generally speaking, torch ship captains at 0 rank, even when their guidance technique reaches LV9, can only achieve 2 things at once. Mastery of 3 simultaneous tasks is something that requires pushing beyond LV10 and undergoing a sublimation of life's order. The reason he'd currently at LV4 in guidance technique was able to briefly enter a state of threefold mind utilization was entirely built on the high-speed overdraw on his spiritual consciousness, which naturally led to a period of lethargy afterwards. Of course, it's not to say that all torch citizens with guidance technique below LV10 could enter this temporary limit-breaking state under intense concentration. On the contrary, 1 in 10,000 might be able to do so. To enter or even control this limit-breaking state often requires specific timing and certain innate gifts. Therefore, the number of people who could control this technique was few, and each could be considered gifted. This was the reason for Song Chi's elation. Although a single instance of accidental limit-breaking didn't mean he had completely mastered this special technique, with this experience under his belt, he had the confidence that through long-term practice and attempts, he could eventually master this skill. He then maneuvered the Tsongchong through the fragment belt for several minutes until he was sure that the White-Winged tribe couldn't catch up in the short term, then Song Chi landed Tsongchong on a small fragment. If he remembered correctly, the scheduled auto-return time for Tsongchong was in a few minutes. Using this time, he turned to look at the only special component currently loaded on the shuttle, the Fire Peony Soldier figurine tree. As expected, 7 of the 10 light points on this white component had dimmed, indicating that 7 of the 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines that had fallen to the rift's bottom had been lost so far, leaving only 3 struggling to hold on. However, there was an unexpected piece of good news. At some point, 2 strands of 0-rank floating land origin had appeared on the Tsongchong, which meant that before their demise, the 7 Fire Peony Soldier figurines had also taken down 2 members of the first-rank White-Winged tribe. Indeed, aside from the constant emanation of floating land origin from the origin core, torch warships can also obtain floating land origin by killing members of alien civilizations in the alien star domain. The Fire Peony Soldier figurines were the product of the Fire Peony Soldier effigy tree component of the Tsongchong, so they could also trigger this feature. As for the question of why a single first-rank member of the White-Winged tribe only provided 1 strand of 0-rank floating land origin, this was quite normal. After all, to obtain a single strand of 0-rank floating land origin, one would need to kill 10,000 0-rank members of the alien race. While pondering, the last 3 light points also dimmed. It meant that all 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines had fallen. Despite this, Song Chi didn't feel sorrowful. The 10 Fire Peony Soldier figurines weren't gone forever after being lost. They would be available for summoning again after a 24-hour buffer. After checking the status of the Fire Peony Soldier figurine tree component, Song Chi's gaze swept the cabin. He was very curious about the warship component that had come from the first-rank floating land origin core that he had obtained with great difficulty. No sooner had he entered the cabin than Song Chi's eyes gleamed. The focal point wasn't the component itself, which was the size of a palm near the cabin door, but the dazzling purple light it emitted. It was clear that the torch warship component, which resulted from the nuclear fusion engine LV0. Quality, purple. Before he could finish examining, a slight sensation of weightlessness suddenly hit him, and as time progressed, this sensation of weightlessness was intensifying. Realizing something, Song Chi immediately withdrew his gaze and returned to the pilot seat with the utmost speed. Chapter 16, Blue Quality Superconductive Laser Cannon. Chapter 16, Blue Quality Superconductive Laser Cannon. Just as he fastened his seatbelt, the sensation of weightlessness reached its limit, followed by a dizzying whirl. In the suburbs of Zhongyuan City, at the ultra-long-range Starry Sea launch platform, the crowd was significantly smaller than the sea of people from yesterday, yet still close to 3,000 citizens had gathered. At this moment, the expressions on the faces of the more than 2,000 people present were mostly one of deep concern, revealing the anxiety parents and elders felt for their children. To awaken the seed of torch and command a torch worship is indeed a shortcut to heaven for everyone, granting an extraordinary social status. However, this shortcut is not a broad avenue, but one bristling with thorns. Each foray into the alien star domain, to put it nicely, is a mix of danger and opportunity. To phrase it unpleasantly, it is a life gamble repeated over and over. If you bet right, you live. If you bet wrong, death is the only outcome. All the parents present understood this, yet they had no choice but to proceed, because it is one of the few opportunities for common people to turn their fortunes around. If one of their descendants could make it just a little further on the path of torch worship operation, the entire family could benefit from it, and even leap to become a newly emerging torch family, easily carrying on the legacy for hundreds or even thousands of years. For the average citizens within the domain of torch human civilization, this is almost a common goal pursued by everyone. Hum hum hum. Amidst the intense humming sounds, the anxious parents finally saw the beam of light piercing the heavens light up again. When the light dissipated, the once empty launch platform had nearly 100 spectral shuttles appear on it. These were the first 100 spectral shuttles launched yesterday. However, looking at the numbers, out of the 100 people, only 94 had returned. All students listened to the command to immediately fly away from the launch platform. Outside the launch platform, the Torch Bureau officers' directives ran out immediately. One after another, the spectral shuttles began to leave the platform, freeing up space for the subsequent return of the spectral shuttles. Nearly 2 hours later, all the students from this year's awakening in Jongyuan City had returned. According to the statistics of Jongyuan's Torch Bureau, there were 1032 successful awakeners, and the actual number of beneficiaries was 1032, with 980 successfully returning. That means the number of students who died or were lost in the alien star domain for unknown reasons totaled 52. It's a figure that couldn't be more normal, but the atmosphere on site was inexplicably heavy because these weren't mere numbers, they were 52 living beings. The heavy atmosphere didn't linger too long in the hearts of the students. On their ride back to the school on the hover car, the students from the First Torch Academy excitedly began to exchange stories. In the First Torch Academy class of 255 Awakening Students Exchange Group created by the Academy, the chatting was incredibly lively. Class 10 Lu Jie, what did everyone gain this time? Class 3 Jolu, ha ha ha, my luck wasn't too bad. I came across an asteroid belt and got 30 tons of uranium ore. Class 4 Zhong Chao, envious, a ton of uranium ore is worth 8 strands of zero-rank floating. Land origin, 30 tons is 240 strands. Why did I only find fine iron, than just a pathetic amount of less than 60 tons, sob. Class 5 Sun Hao, envy +1, a big shot, please bring me with you. After glancing at the chat history in the group, Song Chi turned to look at Sun Hao sitting next to him. How's it? How did you do this time? Saw the novelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. While typing on his communication bracelet, Sun Hao spoke softly. 50 tons of gas ore. Hearing the words gas ore, Song Chi's eyebrows twitched slightly, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Gas ore was a high-rank resource, rumored to be used in the enhancement of high-quality warship components, thus its value was always high. On the market, 1 ton could typically sell for 10 strands of zero-rank floating land origin. 500 strands of zero-rank floating land origin, and you're envious of others. Clicking to close the communication light screen, Sun Hao let out a chuckle and draped his muscular left arm over Song Chi's shoulder. Brother Chi, you still don't know me. What's the use of glory in front of others? Keeping a low profile is my life motto. Lowering his head to glance at the other's arm, which was thicker than his own thigh, Song Chi really couldn't see how a hulking figure nearly 2 meters tall and weighing close to 150 kilograms, who attracted attention wherever he went, could possibly be associated with the words low profile. Ignoring Song Chi's eye roll, Sun Hao quickly responded with a question. What about you, Brother Chi? 10 tons of mithril. Song Chi casually put forward the 10 tons of mithril, not that he intended to hide anything, but the 600 plus tons of purple copper could not be explained. He was very clear that the golden finger of Jution Ruins market should never be exposed, otherwise he would be faced with endless trouble. Being able to randomly trade with alien races throughout the shattered starry sea was a valuable and unimaginable strange object. And that purple quality component, the nuclear fusion engine, he hadn't thought about exposing that yet either. The engine component of purple quality was also valuable and might invite cavitas stares. As for whether he would keep it for himself to trade it through the black market or through the Jution Ruins market, he hadn't decided yet. He was leaning more towards using it himself. An engine of purple quality would be sufficient for him to use for a long time to come. Just then, an astonishing message suddenly appeared in the chat group. Class 1 Deng Chong Basic Component Blue Quality Main Cannon Superconductive Laser Cannon. Interested brothers are welcome to DM. Attached is a JPG of the superconductive laser cannon attributes. Superconductive laser cannon LV0. Quality blue. Consumption 20/short spectral energy points. Attack 15. Charged 5s buffer 10s. Up rank requirement 3 strands of 0 rank floating land origin 300 spectral energy points. Once this information appeared, the chat group exploded. Is it real? A blue main cannon. At class 1 Deng Chong, did you get this from the latest exploration? Awesome, man. Damn, I don't even have a white component, and the big guy's already showing off a blue component. Woo! It wasn't just the students who were stirred up, even the academy teachers were excited. Class 2 homeroom teacher Huang Wei at class 1 Deng Chong, if you really want to sell it, we can talk face to face after you return to the academy. Song Chi's eyes flickered slightly, then he felt somewhat tempted, but he showed no outward sign of it. How foolish, not keeping a blue quality main cannon for oneself. Sun Hao's complaint reached his ears, but Song Chi shook his head gently, disagreeing with his view. Everyone has their own plan. While a blue quality main cannon's damage is shocking, if one doesn't have enough resources for enhancement, they might not even survive the next exploration. Selling it now for a high price, the resources obtained could be used for a comprehensive enhancement of the spectral shuttle, increasing the survival rate for subsequent explorations in the alien star domain. There are losses and gains, as long as he himself finds it worthwhile, that's enough. Part 1 of the series ends here. Thank you for watching and listening. If you find it interesting, please give us a like, a comment and a subscription so that we have the motivation to make the next videos.